But first, the Lucky Dog Music Hall, the Deadites' 56th annual Halloween Extravaganza, the phantasmagorical, spin-kicking gorgasm known as the Deadites, the synth-pop sexy heavies, Gamble and Burke, and opening up the night is Trans Dusk. This year, we booked a bunch of bands that I can say the name of. Welcome to Trick or Treat Radio.
Welcome all you little zombies. You are listening to Trick or Treat Radio, starring the Deadites.
Welcome to episode 112, Trick or Treat Radio. I have like a bunch of knobs to twist right now. Actually, they're faders.
You don't know how, all jokes aside, you don't know like how like awesome that is to know when we film like promos and stuff in a couple weeks that we're not going to have to do 100 because the band names on the show like make any sort of spelling and grammatical sense. Like, we got used to teal, but let's not forget that that's for some reason spelled with 3 E's.
It's true.
And an L, by the way.
Remember Rection?
Oh, erection?
No, not Reaction. Reaction?
Yeah, was it reaction?
Reaction. It was
It was
RXN.
like RXN, yeah.
and,
But it was-
and he's like, it's reaction, dude. I'm like, no, that's not reaction, sir. I can't spell. But that's not reaction.
Well, we have tons to get to tonight, so we need
We have
to
tents?
tons,
Oh. Tons of tents.
tons of tens. So let's jump right into it. So this is episode 112 of Trick or Treat Radio, and Trick or Treat Radio is a phantasmagorical spin kick straight through the heart of pop culture, navigated by the Deadites. The Deadites are the world's greatest electroshock band. We destroy monsters, we drink booze, we win championship belts, and no one's gonna pipe in.
We've also occasionally got tricked into watching not horror movies.
That's true. We didn't really get tricked into it. We sometimes do.
That son of a bitch Jay tricked us. He was like, this horror movie, and this movie Locke. And we were all like, okay, Jay. And then we watched it, and spoiler alert, no werewolf in the backseat of this car.
Whoa.
It'd have been great if it was like that Big Trouble in Little China, when the Beast Man pops up at the end.
Beastman.
Yep.
Remember?
Yeah, I do.
That was we should review that movie. That was good.
You like that?
Well, let's go ahead and tell everyone what we're going to do tonight. So this evening, we are going to review the film Locke, starring Tom Hardy. We're going to talk about that joint. Later. What?
I was just saying his name like he would say it in the film.
How did he say it?
Tam.
No, that's Raven Shadow's
Oh,
accent.
sorry. Yeah. That's a
Tom Hardy.
Tam.
Wicked Hardy.
So we're going to talk about that film first, and then in the final segment of the show, we are going to talk about the bands that we want to see score a film.
Or artists.
Bands or artists,
Relax,
yes.
Tiny.
Yeah, she's tiny. Don't work yourself into a tizzy over there.
No, I'm okay. I just want to make sure I understand the rules.
Did you just say something? What did you say?
Beg your pardon?
He's okay.
Oh.
I said I'm okay.
All right, that's fine.
Is that your new yogurt chain?
I'm old gay. I'm old gay over here.
All right.
That's cool, man.
Totally.
He's an Irish homosexual.
Yeah, we're in
what's this
Massachusetts. You can do that. That's
How
right.
you doing? My name's okay.
I'm
Already
writing my
we're
apology.
breaking down. Yeah, Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
please, what? We held out longer than usual. Come on.
So we are going to talk about
Giving us
the
too much
bands or artists we would like to see score a film, and we're going to be discussing that because the members of the FIB, the Facebook group, Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group, picked it.
Excuse me, Wolfenstein.
Can I get through this? What?
Bessie Smith is obviously not a band. She's just a person. Would that constitute? Is that appropriate to be in the conversation?
Yes. It is.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you very much. Because she's not a band. She's only a solo artist.
Bands, artists, composers, what have you. So we're going to talk about that in the last segment, and then we're also we're going to run down what's going to happen in October because we actually have planned out more than a week ahead. So We know what films we're going to be reviewing, so you guys can sort of mark them down, keep an eye out for them, watch them along with us. And we may have some more information about the new segment rotation we're gonna attempt.
Yeah, we're getting there.
We're getting there. We don't have them all done yet, but we're working on a rotation of 8 segments. So the second segment of the show will rotate, and 1 week we'll do the double tap. Next week we'll have an interview with someone. Next week we'll do a top 13 list or whatever. So we have a list. We're gonna try to just nail it down to eight things, but maybe we'll discuss that a little bit later.
You mostly just describe what we've done so far for the last 112 episodes.
It's true.
Yeah. No difference here.
All right. Well,
we got a message. We got a new segment from a drunk Japanese dragon.
I don't think he's Japanese, is he? Oh,
I don't know. I don't know what he is.
Okay, I don't know either, but
I'm not. I am.
yeah, who am I to
Yeah.
to judge?
I blame. I'll be honest with you. Like I blame pro wrestling because all my favorite Japanese pro wrestlers in the 90s it came out that they were Korean. So I don't know. I don't know what anybody looks like anymore. Antonio Inoki, most famous Japanese wrestler of all time, Korean.
That's not true.
No, it's 100% true. Yeah. Jumbo Tsuruta, they were all brought over by Rikidozan, who was also Korean. I don't know what anybody looks like.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and introduce everybody. We have a guest too that we haven't even got to.
We're going to be very polite.
Yeah,
while
very-
we ramble on.
So let's go ahead and introduce everyone. I am Johnny Wolfenstein, the pencil pusher and producer of media for Trick or Treat Radio and for the Deadites. We also have the immortal gunslinger, singer, and lyricist for the Deadites, Dynamo Mars.
Hi, everybody. I'm very happy to be here on the program Trick or Treat Radio.
For the 112th week in a row.
Yeah, I know. I haven't fucking missed one. Fuckers. No vacation here.
Hey.
No, rhymes with Icodin.
No Icodin. No Cleveland.
No Cleveland Steamers.
No Hawaii. and you know what's funny about it? I don't get any attention because I'm actually here. Nobody writes any funny songs about me or say anything nice.
Well, we say funny shit about you.
Yeah, I don't care what
We
you
make
say.
jokes.
Yeah, whatever.
All right. We also have the katana wielding, synth collecting. That's all the more true, isn't it?
That's
now?
an understatement.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Matt,
Synth hoarder.
I feel bad because I have them all now.
that's right.
Nobody else can write electronic music anymore.
He's a synth hoarder. He's not a collector. He's
You're
a
right.
hoarder.
I just changed the copy. It's synth hoarding now. Mask wearing composer and songwriter for the Deadites, Tiny White.
Hello.
Hello, Tiny.
We've got a lot of flair tonight.
Yes.
You're going to see him on an episode of Hoarders very soon.
But he's not hoarding anything. It's like he's there'd be a show called Acquirers.
Yes.
He'd be on that.
How about stockpiling?
Maybe.
Stockpiling.
It's true. He flips them, though, too.
He does. You have to flip some stuff, so you actually don't hoard
I
it.
have. I'm not afraid to move something that's shit to me.
You
Definitely.
you sold the little fatty, which broke my heart.
He sold
I didn't
you?
sell it, I got it straight.
Sorry, Dino. I was preempting him.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right.
I wasn't
No,
going
I
to say
I
anything.
traded it. That was a nice trade too.
Oh, yeah, that's
Nice.
right. It was a
I'd
trade.
like to go for that.
And you gave money. That's a bad trade, actually, from where
No,
I
I
sit.
didn't do money on that one.
No,
It was
no.
it was straight trade.
All right, let's introduce the other guys now.
Hey.
The rest.
We have the chain smoking, hand kissing, baby shaking, hot pocket loving, comic book reading nerd, and I'm not going to read the last part. Michael Raven Shadow.
Hey, that's right, Johnny. You left the part out, but I'm not mad at you. Just get your balls on. We're ready for a show.
Whoa. All right. We also have the vulgar guru of horror, cast member of Morbid Vision Films, and contributor for Horror Hound magazine, Monster Zero.
Son of a bitch. And you know what? I'm going to be here all night long. And
fuck.
yeah.
forgot
Deal with it,
about that.
bitches.
Let's go to
Deal with it,
commercial.
bitches. And I'm also going to be here the entire show next week as well.
I think I need a rhyme with Icodin.
By the time we're all done here, you're all going to need a word that rhymes with Icodin.
We have a real live film director on the. You should be nice and like be on your best behavior.
Yeah. Speaking
I've
of,
dealt with directors before.
Good. Yeah. Scott's
I've
Yeah,
dealt,
he-
I've
he
dealt
leaves
with
him-
film directors
There's
before.
plenty.
They're-
There's plenty of noodles over here.
he leaves them chopped up in his trunk.
That's right. That's right.
You need to be especially nice after last week acting like something that rhymes with apist.
That's true. That is true.
Some very
Yeah,
controversial.
I was like, that was one of the most
comments.
in 111 episodes. I've never been more like uncomfortable. Like, I'm sorry if I led you that way somehow, but like, it was not. It was not good.
No, it wasn't good at all.
And I also want to say that I'm ignoring everything you're saying.
I know.
In addition to making those rapey comments, I also want to say,
Yeah, you know what? Hey, that's in the past. You know, I'm a changed person.
Oh no.
I'm letting my full geek flag fly because I have brought with me my Starscream. See, I brought him here with me, a big fat
Huge.
Starscream, my Supreme Starscream. And the reason why I did this, the reason why I brought him with me is
In
because
case anybody thought I ever kissed a girl.
in case anybody ever thought I kissed a girl, I'm celebrating the 30th anniversary of Transformers, the cartoon,
Nice.
hitting the airwaves. It was 30 years ago
Nice.
today. So happy anniversary, Transformers! Happy anniversary, Starscream! And suck all you guys' asses if you guys don't like it.
Can we transform us and see if it'll fly out the window?
It is fully transformable, but you can't. It won't fly. Unfortunately, I tried that.
so
before.
transform it on video here.
You want me to All right, it takes a little while.
Oh,
And
shit,
but
that's
the only
pretty-
thing is
that's
that
pretty. That's fucking big, dude. That's
Yeah.
bigger than I thought it was.
It's huge.
it makes noise when you transform it. You know, it makes that clicking noise. You know, so I don't know. It might be a little distracting.
All right. Well, you transform. What was that? Yeah. All right. You transform. And
All right.
Dynamo's going to introduce our guest.
All right, give me a minute.
So, don't point that thing at me, please. I like
said Monster Zero's camping date.
yeah, 112 episodes of Monster Zero, and I think my virginity grew back. Says the guy that had a Spider-Man sweatshirt on all day.
Good.
Our guest is from one of the coolest podcasts out there. I didn't realize how much of a long-time listener I was till I went back to try to figure out when, and I am pretty sure I was on. First one I heard was I'd recommended this film to Tiny White called Stakeland, and in traditional Tiny White fashion, he in turn re-recommended it to me a couple weeks later. And I was just kind of cruising for horror podcasts, and I came across one that was talking about Stakeland, and I checked it out, and I have been listening ever since. They are tremendously informed. Both the gentlemen on the show are filmmakers, which gives them in my opinion, a leg up on a lot of podcasts because, it's one thing to have an opinion. It's another thing to actually have an informed opinion. It's why I begrudgingly respect Wolfie's opinion so much. The podcast, my friends, is called The House of Horror. You can find it at thehouseofhorror.com. Can we edit that out?
Nope.
Try again, Dynamo. Try
Thank you.
again.
Yeah.
Thehouseofhorror.com and
The House of Horror Podcast.
yes.com. Sorry. You do realize that there is a 41-year-old man breathing on me, transforming to Transformer right now behind me. And I'm
I'm
supposed
43, by the way.
to... Thanks.
He's lightly moaning while he's
Yeah, that's a lot of not sex to have.
Oh, I'm in disguise. Energon cubes.
Virgins in disguise. TheHouseofHorrorPodcast.com. They just recently did a great review of The Den. And on tonight, we have one of those gentlemen. This is Joe.
How you doing, guys? What's going on?
Not too much, Joe. Thanks for joining us. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure.
So, Joe, you have another life other than a podcasting life. So is it okay to say your last name?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, not that I can, but
Yeah.
you're asking.
He can't pronounce it, but
I heard you. I heard you on the last show. You got. I think third time you got it right.
Thank you. That's sounds. You sound like my girlfriend right now.
So before we get any further, Joe, I'm hoping you can enlighten our listeners and let them know how they can listen to the House of Horror, how they can find you, how they can interact with you on social media, all that good stuff.
Well, you guys can, of course, go to thehouseofhorrorpodcast.com. We do have a Facebook page, Facebook.com/The House of Horror Podcast. And we do retrospective shows to help support the regular weekly show. We do like franchises, like we have the whole Halloween franchise up there. It's at Bandcamp, so it's the House of Horror Podcast.bandcamp.com. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We're reviewing Tusk this upcoming week.
Nice.
On
Okay.
Friday.
Awesome.
Kevin Smith's Tusk. Our next, we just did actually a few days ago. We just did the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre commentary. So there's that up there. We're gonna do the
Cool.
Jaws. We're gonna do Jaws next, and all of October we're doing Best of the Decades, from the 1970s all the way to the Double Zeros.
I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, I'm insanely excited.
That sounds very cool. I've yet to check out the retrospectives, but I definitely I think it's pretty awesome that you guys do those. And it seems like, from what I've heard of the podcast, definitely very informed. You guys, sort of are in the craft, so you guys have a different take on it than a lot of other podcasters. So it's very cool. So anyone out there who digs horror or digs film in general, to find out some of the in and outs of it, definitely tune into House of Horror podcast. It's very cool.
Joe, am I correct in thinking that your newest film has or is recently been entered into a festival?
Well, I actually just got into my second festival.
Nice.
just
Congratulations.
the other day. Thank you. We're gonna play mid October. I don't have the exact date yet. I'm still talking to them, but I got into the New York City Indie Film Festival. So yeah,
That's
we
awesome.
played at New Filmmakers New York last month. That went pretty well. So yeah.
The and you guys are if you don't mind me saying so, I'll go back and not bleep this out later. But you guys are located out of beautiful Long Island. Is that correct?
We do, and I heard you trashing it last show. It's
Yeah.
wonderful to hear.
Yeah. Well, Tiny White.
Fucking Stony Brook.
Yeah, Tiny White did some time.
It did some
Did
time.
some
Yeah,
time in
it's the
Stony
time
Brook.
on there. Wait, so is that why that the movie about the shark that you just said sounds like the little guys that stole the droids in Star Wars?
Tiny, people live in glass houses, sir.
Yes.
Just because you sound like Christopher Walken doesn't mean that the rest of us don't sound like Billy Madison.
All right, fair enough. I love Long Island. I was in a nice spot down there. Actually, I was right
No,
on
you
the North
weren't.
Shore.
That was awful.
Yeah, it was.
There was no nice spot.
I lived in the slave quarters of a mansion.
It's true. That is 100% true. But there was one good part of it. There was a comic book store, a video store, in a Chinese food restaurant, like all in one strip mall.
Store.
Literally in my house.
How long ago was this? A video
I,
store?
I suspect you may not
Yeah.
have been born.
1998. Would have been 98.
Oh my God! Don't talk about dates, real dates.
So you're judging Long Island from a 1998. How long were you there, Dynamo?
I wasn't. Tiny was there. I went. This dude is my best friend on the planet, and I went twice in like 3 years. And like one time, I think I was drugged and kidnapped. I think
Yeah.
he told me that we had a
How
show.
long did you stay for? How long did you stay for?
Oh, I don't know. I was probably there a week total over those three
Yeah,
years.
that's true.
Not
You came
long.
down for a while.
Yeah.
So wait, what part of Long Island are you from right now?
In the Suffolk area.
Okay, yeah, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
1998. That's terrible.
Yeah, that was
Long Island.
a long time ago.
We were in you know where Oldfield is?
I don't.
We were on
actually.
basically North Shore, right on the water, which is you just can't complain about that.
I can. I
And
did.
everything else was strip malls.
Yeah.
And all you can eat Chinese food.
I
That's
like
how I
that.
remember.
I like that part.
Yeah, it was bad. I can't believe I didn't get fat down there. This is weird.
I don't think it's possible for you to get fat.
I literally gorged myself to the point of like being comatose pretty much every day at a buffet of one variety or another.
That was a bad
And
time for me
gained 0
too,
pounds.
because
that?
once you went to Long Island, I realized that like my sister was keeping you.
Yeah,
Like
that's
I
true.
kind of was holding out. Like our plan was she was going to shack up with like a lawyer, and neither of us were going to have to do anything. But
Right.
I don't know if anybody has been paying attention to my life trajectory, but I have to do plenty, and I'm poor.
Right.
And a big part of that is because of Tiny.
Yeah, that could be true. That could
Yeah.
be true.
which we were talking about the other day until you came in.
Nice.
It's too late now.
It's never too late.
It could be true.
All right, you guys done running down Long Island? Running down our guests'
Yeah, sorry,
hometown?
it's true. Well, if he ever came, well, that said, not everybody can come from beautiful Shrewsbury, Massachusetts, where the sun shines all the time.
That's right. That's true. Yep.
Yeah.
Is it getting cold there, or is it like really fall weather yet, or not really?
Oh no, it's
It is.
it happened fast too. Like it was
Yep.
like 85, 90 like a week ago Monday, and now we're into like it was 70 on Monday, and like it's been like 60, 65 for the last couple of days. So it's real
Right,
nice.
Halloween
Same,
weather up
same
there.
here. Same here. This is my favorite time of year. I love the fall.
Yes,
Yeah, it's
yes,
awesome.
absolutely.
Yep. It smells like the trick or treating scene from E.T. up here right now.
That's what I like to hear. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
The smell of chimneys and
That's
only leaves on the ground and everything. Oh, it's great.
It's only because you have Drew Barrymore tied up with
Hey,
empty
hey,
candy
hey,
bags,
hey,
and
hey.
you.
Hey, you were supposed to keep that secret, man.
Hey, you're back. Did you transform that thing?
I did.
Let's see it.
It only took 4.5 hours.
I know it's a bitch to transform because it's so fucking big, but
Remember, children.
here it is, man.
Yeah.
All right, I'm now holding the transformed Starscream in my hands. This thing's pretty impressive. It's a pretty good job.
What'd you pay for that, MZ?
Don't tell anyone.
Yeah, don't tell anyone.
Yeah, I'm not
please.
gonna tell anybody, but I do. But I do have another one on hold right now. A masterpiece, Sunstorm.
Jesus
So I
Christ.
can't wait.
Uh,
I can't wait to get that.
Raven Shadow, open the window. Let's see if this thing flies.
Yeah, it does.
I think you paid more for that than my Halloween box set that's coming and my Texas Chainsaw Massacre box set. Together.
Dynamo,
That's
I'm
possible.
curious, which box set did you get for the Texas Chainsaw?
Not that dumb truck, that's for sure.
No, I was gonna say
Like
that
why?
truck is retarded.
Yeah, why did they make a thing about something that's
Yeah.
in the movie for like 1 minute? Like
Right.
they
Yeah,
couldn't make
weird.
a fucking
Yeah.
like a chainsaw was too hard.
And like
That's
and like
nothing.
you're gonna put it.
Uh-oh.
They made a goddamn documentary on that fucking truck.
No, sir.
Yeah, I'm not shitting you.
They should change the name to Texas Truck Massacre.
No, they really did. They made a documentary based on on the Black Maria truck
Really?
at the end of
That's
Texas
ridiculous.
Chainsaw Massacre. I'm like,
It's fucking
Wow.
outrageous.
it's interesting to know about, but a full documentary on it, I don't think is necessary. You know?
No,
Does
it's
anybody have the specs on the actual box of that truck?
No.
We need the specs bad
Yeah.
because
think
it's
it's
just
got a Hemi.
atrocious. It's
Yeah.
atrocious.
Does it
If it's
transform
more
into
than a
Optimus
foot,
Prime?
That's ridiculous.
Yep.
Like this collector stuff that I got at the for every awesome Necronomicon box set that I'm still pretty proud that I have and it's displayed. There's a couple things that are holding up table legs and stuff now that I'm obviously not as proud of, but I just can't imagine anybody being like, I can get the same movie I have 4 times in this truck.
Yeah.
Yes.
The release of that is just ridiculous. You know, I mean, even the 4K digital remaster is not necessary. I just don't feel the need to own it.
The only thing that's I'm excited about that remastering, but because a lot of that movie happens during the day, so it's not going to be I can't eat I think it was the first Evil Dead. I feel like it's just too bright. But the thing with that truck, the only thing that's kind of sexy about it is that these really small boutique companies are in the game now, and that's something that's hasn't happened since Laserdisc, really. The bigger DVD boutiques Blue Underground and what was another one? Not Anchor Bay.
What,
Anchor Bay.
Mondo?
Yeah.
Mondo? Oh.
What was it?
Mondo.
I was saying Mondo.
Like,
or no?
I was gonna say Mondo Macabro.
Yeah,
or,
Mondo was a pretty small company, but a lot of them were subsidiaries. and stuff
Image
like
or
that, yeah. So to have these very
Synapse.
Code Red, dudes basically in their basement putting this stuff out is pretty exciting and pretty sexy. I think.
Well, you've seen that transfer for the most recent Blu-ray that's already out there. That's a beautiful transfer. I mean,
Of what?
that is gorgeous. Of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974.
Yeah.
It is beautiful. I mean, I was just talking about it to Tom while we were doing while we were doing the commentary track the other night. I was like, this is a beautiful movie on Blu-ray.
Yeah,
should-
Yeah, but I think
I should have followed suit with Tom about this movie this week. Is what I think.
I think bringing out the 4K digital transfer on this is just I don't know. I feel that it's just
'Cause you don't have
stripping away. Shut up.
Because you don't
That
have
it's just
4K
stripping
TV.
away. That it's just stripping away the griminess of what makes that film so great, even just to start with. You know,
Do you feel that way about the Blu-ray at the moment? Like the Blu-ray that's already out there?
Yes, I do.
Really?
The farthest I went was the Steelbook DVD.
Monster Zero owns it on wax.
Was the
He has to go to the Edison laboratory to play it.
I used to have it, or maybe I still do. I don't remember. Have it on Laserdisc, but I mean, the farthest I've gone is the Steelbook DVD, and that's as far as I'm going to go.
Which is a nice set too. And
It
looks-
is. It's a
looks
great
good.
set. It's a great set, and it looks fantastic. But I feel that if I was to see a more cleaned up version of it, it would just take away that specialness that we all used to love when it came out on VHS. It was grimy, it was murky, it was sort of dark a little bit in scenes.
While I would generally agree with you,
it just had that special something
this
in it
looks
that I just
fucking
really
fantastic.
enjoyed. I bet it looks great, but I think that's the problem too.
Like the scene where she's wheeling him up the path during the day, like, or you just see the house in the distance, like.
I
It's fucking
think
beautiful.
I'm sure it looks fantastic. I'm sure it's gorgeous.
I wasn't
and
gonna get it
think-
till I saw
that's-
it.
I think that's the problem, at least as
Wait,
far as I'm concerned.
You haven't seen the Blu-ray transfer yet?
I have not.
Oh, so why are you speaking on this?
Because he's Monster
He's
Zero.
insane.
No, because that's
If you
just
haven't
my
heard the
opinion.
show, that's about protocol.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can
it's like
I can
Raven Shadow when he
understand-
used to. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can understand aesthetically where you're coming from, but I mean it doesn't really take away from the actual film itself. It always is a film that's gonna feel a certain way. I mean, okay, there's not that spec. I mean, it's still grainy. It still has that kind of falling out of the camera feeling to it. So I mean, I would say give it a shot. I totally understand where you're coming from. And I grew up with the VHSs. I've never even seen anything on Laserdisc, but I would say give it a shot. It's beautiful, but not to the extent of glossiness. It'll never be that way because it was made in that era of it. For that time.
Well, I might just end up taking a look at it, borrowing it from Dynamo, and then giving it back to him
In 10 years.
In 10 years. But I don't think I'll ever own it. I'm happy with the DVD release, and that's pretty much as far as I'm going to go with that. Not to mention the fact Texas Chainsaw Massacre gets released
He's
constantly.
What he's trying to say is he just spent $150 on a Transformers toy.
No, I didn't say that. No, I didn't say that. I didn't say
See,
that.
we all know where your priorities are. Right?
Yes. No.
Although in the chat room, Bobby Chain says Texas Chainsaw Massacre looks best on third generation VHS. MZ knows what I'm talking about.
Fucking A, Chains. Fucking A.
Um,
See, me and him, we're on the same wavelength.
Why don't you guys
We
go-
know what we're talking about.
Yeah, right.
Why don't you guys go out on a date?
It'd be nice.
Hey, you better watch your mouth, man.
You can play with each other's Transformers.
You have
Oh,
good looking,
fuck you, man.
good looking kids.
I think you're really starting to take advantage of my good nature. All right?
We also have someone else in the chat room. I'm not sure if you know who this is, Joe, but guest 768 says,
Nice, good.
"My boy Joe representing HOH." So
I unfortunately have no clue. they can say who they are. I mean, I've been posting it all over the House of Horror Facebook page
Nice.
all day, so I'm sure a few listeners are in here.
nice. Well, welcome to the House of Horror listeners as well. We don't ask people who they actually are because they leave as soon as we ask who are you, guest 502. They leave.
Yes, they curse us out
Yeah.
and then just leave the chat room. Yeah.
we respect anonymity, so we won't ask. But
They-
but
Yes.
welcome and glad you're hanging out with us.
They kind of react the same way that Monster Zero reacts when somebody asks him at the park why his bracelet is lighting up.
Oh man! All right. Well, we're gonna move on and get to this movie review. So before we do that, though, real quick, we don't need to get into too much with with it. But our new software,
Oh, shit.
you want to go ahead and talk about this, Raven Shadow? What is it called?
It's got the XSplit software.
XSplit!
Oh, my Lord. It just really makes everything pop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, all right, that's enough. If you are into streaming video, go ahead and check out XSplit.
XSplit!
XSplit.com. Oh, no one did it there. Okay. They have some really cool stuff, and if you're into streaming video, games, or whatever, they have the right program for you. So go ahead and give them a look. Also, if you guys know the holidays are coming up, and if you do your shopping on Amazon, if you would be so kind as to use our link on the trickortreatradio.com homepage, right on the right-hand side there's a link for Amazon. Just click on that, and whatever you purchase on Amazon, during that session, we'll get a cut of it. It doesn't charge you anymore. We just get a little referral money, and that helps keeps the podcast going. And everybody everyone out there is going to be buying lots of stuff for the holidays. So lots of cool Blu-rays, DVDs, releases on VOD, what have you. You can use that link for any of that stuff, or your fucking Transformers.
Yeah, fucking
Son
A,
of a
man.
bitch.
Hey!
Yeah, why didn't you buy that on Amazon?
He doesn't know what Amazon is.
I know what Amazon is, you dick. No, I bought that long before
It's
we
where Anaconda
started.
was filmed.
I bought it long before we started joining up with Amazon, and thanks to XSplit.
XSplit.
And also, lately there's been a wave of activity on the Fib this past week.
Oh.
There's lots of stuff going on. So if if you want to join the discussion, well, we haven't done this in a while, Raven Shadow. What are the 3 things you can count on in life?
Good question, Johnny. Death, taxes, and trick-or-treat radio every Friday morning.
That's right. Or Wednesday Night Live.
If
That's technically 4 things, right?
Or
Yeah.
maybe Tuesday next week.
Shit. Then just focus on the main 3.
Yes.
And then it's all gravy after that.
So Raven Shadow, you listen to the whole episode Friday morning. You download it to your iPod, your Android. You listen to it on Stitcher. You listen to it on iTunes, trickortreatradio.com, wherever you listen it to. Once the episode's over, you listen to that 3 hours. Well, what the fuck?
Well,
what
first,
do you do?
First, I'm late for work, and then I gotta fucking rush to the office. And thank God I'm there, because then I can log on the network and check out the trick or treat fucking fan interaction board.
Right. So once the episode is over,
The discussion just begins.
that's right. So if you go to
Wow.
Trick or Treat Radio on Facebook, if you're not already in the group, just go ahead and ask to be invited. Locate us. Ask to be invited. We'll let you in.
We're talking about Batman versus Godzilla on there.
That's right.
Yeah.
So about Batman as Godzilla
Yep.
on there.
We're talking about the your favorite nude scenes in film.
You resurrected
Yummy.
that one.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Resurrected that from the dead. Thank you.
That was like a year ago, and you resurrected that thread.
I'm rising.
We're talking about we're talking about last week. We reviewed Psychomania. Some discussion about that.
There was a resurrection in my pants.
We for the second segment of the show today, we had a vote on the Fib for that. So everyone on the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group picked the topic. We're talking about Skull Island, lots of stuff, lots of comic book news out there as well. So you're right, nobody's talking about it. Everyone just liked it.
Captain Boomerang.
Yeah, Captain Boomerang. Tiny had a nice little quip on that one. So come hang out with us on the Fib. Also, we want to try to get some more. We haven't been pushing the voicemail as much, but since the site got revamped, it's still on there. If you guys want to leave us a voicemail, go to trickortreatradio.com, and right on there, there's a contact. Click on the contact button, and then you can get a link to either email us or voicemail us. And one of the things we're going to do, actually, Dynamo, is in our new segment. I think we're going to call it "Roll the Bones."
Like that.
There's 5 slots for all 5 members of the panel here,
Right.
and then there's a 6th wild card spot. If you participate in the show, you get added to that list.
Right.
So if you send us an email, you send us a voicemail, you leave us a 5-star review, any of that stuff, you get added to this list of 100 names. And the more interaction you give, the more times you get your name listed.
Right. And right now, most of the slots are filled by supervillains and cryptozoological beasts.
Right.
So
Yes, and we'll start removing them as we get more people. So if you would like to recommend movies for us to review, go ahead and just interact with the show. Shoot us an email. Let us know what you think. leave us a voicemail or leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, and your name will get added to that list. And if you get selected, you get to pick a film for us to review. So there you have it. I think that's all we needed to get through. We need to review this movie.
It's a nice Iron Maiden shirt, sir, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much.
Very welcome. Very handsome.
I could wear this anywhere.
Well,
All right, so let's cut to a quick break. We'll be right back. This is Raven Shadow's favorite part of the show, and we'll be back to review Locke.
Available on iTunes, Google Music, Amazon, CD Baby, and all other digital distribution sites.
Hey there, this is R.A. Salvatore, call me Bob, and you're listening to Trick or Treat Radio.
Hello, darlings. It's your favorite whiskey-drinking, litigious, singing, dancing fantasy girl. Want to reach out to me and the world's greatest monster-hunting multimedia organization, the Deadites? Log on to Facebook.com/the Deadites. It's got all the info you need to follow the world's greatest monster hunting band, like live appearances, info on your favorite Deadite, music, and all the links you need to our new weekly multimedia and all our side endeavors. Too many letters on Facebook? That's okay, sugar. Just follow us on Instagram and Twitter @the Deadites. Hope to see you soon, and we'll leave the lights off.
And we have returned from break.
this selfish motherfucker here is not only trying to tell me that I missed an episode a few episodes back, which is entirely not true.
You weren't here. You were at Tiny's.
Right.
Maybe that's what I'm getting confused on.
And
who are you calling us selfish?
and
I'm a
that it is more important for him to be here for the whole show than for me to be here at all. Unquote.
What?
I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
Don't quote unquote me. I did not say that. I did not say that.
I said,
Don't
if we don't
quote,
do it on
unquote
Tuesday
me.
next week, I'm not going to be here. And you said, well, I won't be able to do the whole show. And I said, well, is that more important than me being here? And you said, and I quote, why does that matter? Is what you said.
That's
Well-
what I said.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you for quoting me right for a change.
Well, we do have a movie to review, so guest 768 in the chat room says, do the Godfather. Is that a dance? Do the Godfather?
What the hell?
Oh, I guess
Is
maybe-
that when you
Flirt with
the horse head?
yes, you dance with the horse head.
Yeah, then let's go with that.
I think he probably means the movie, but all right. Well, we're gonna review the film Locke from what?
He's still whining.
Oh, shut up! It's all right.
Ah,
I
jeez.
don't know if you'd paid attention
I
to the
didn't.
last 112. But I didn't want you here. I liked it better when you're on the phone.
Yeah, that sounded better, right?
Trick.
It's just that we prefer static over your real voice.
Ugh.
Well, it smells great now. And it sure sucks.
No.
I hate it.
No.
He's got this one's fucking belching on me.
Come on, this is a classy movie. Let's class it up, guys.
The
There you
Marlboro
go.
Man walked in.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, Locke from 2013. Although
Wait, we didn't finish the name of the movie.
Locke.
No, that's not what we reviewed.
What did we review?
Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
No, that's not it.
Jason Statham.
Really?
Stratham.
Stratham?
What's his
Who's
name?
Statham.
Statham. Every movie, put it in the bag.
I thought we reviewed.
No women, no kids.
I thought we reviewed the Werner Herzog movie about him looking for Loch Ness monster. No.
Ooh.
Loch Ness.
No, we reviewed the Dawkins album Under Lock and Key.
Oh, whoops.
Oh.
Wait, we weren't reviewing the movie about the murderous monkey that kills all the sheep in the end?
No.
That was Locke, right?
Yeah.
All right,
Oh, shit, no, that was Link.
Locke is rated R, 85 minutes. This
Rated R?
Yes.
For what?
Fucking, this is an R-rated movie.
Rated R for speeding.
Rated R.
There was no dead bodies. There were no
Joke.
naked breasts.
Rated R for excessive fade.
Well, there were some
editing.
pretty adult subjects in there, my friends.
I don't
Yeah,
think
some
so.
some pretty coarse language going
Yeah.
on throughout the
Yeah, I
entire
guess
course of the
so.
film.
Was there a swear?
He did get angry, too.
Yeah, rated R. Rated R.
Rated R for road rage.
Yeah. Rated R for misappropriation of concrete.
Get the fucking concrete.
All right, let's not spoil anything here.
Spoiler alert.
All right. This film was written and directed by Stephen Knight. It stars Tom Hardy, and that's it. And a few other voices, but Tom Hardy is the only actor in this entire film that you see on screen, really.
Mm-hmm.
You actually, maybe some of the other drivers, I don't know if they get credit, but you only see his face pretty much. That's it, and you hear some voices. But let me go ahead and read the synopsis here from IMDb. Ivan Locke, a dedicated family man and successful construction manager, receives a phone call on the eve of the biggest challenge of his career that sets in motion a series of events that threaten his careful, cultivated existence. Who would like to kick us off? Dynamo?
Sure.
All right.
So this movie opens, and it's very, very intriguing, because as he's driving around, you find out that he's not going to go to work tomorrow. And then you find out more about the particular predicament that he's in. And, you know, my imagination starts working, right? You know, on this podcast, we watch and talk about a particular kind of film. And something about this kind of put me on the path of, you know, like a Drive, obviously, or you know, the rest of that cat's movies. And I'm thinking, okay, well, he is this concrete is somebody's going to end up in this concrete, right? That's what he's that's what he's brokering right now. Like in once you find out where he's going, like, oh, he's going to get that person and that smaller person and put them in the concrete, right? It was probably at about the 35-minute point that I realized that this motherfucker was really talking about laying a foundation. Like he wasn't
Really?
he wasn't burying anybody. Like there was no werewolves. There was no, like there was not really anybody in the back seat of the car. So once my expectations were dashed against the rocks, like brains, I got in the groove of this movie and really enjoyed Hardy's performance. I think no matter what you think about this movie, it is undeniable that it's gorgeous. It is edited. I was trying to put my finger on what it reminded me of, and this is kind of maybe this is a super esoteric way to put it because maybe nobody ever thought of this, but like I feel like this movie was edited in the way that like I thought movies like Manhunter, you know, were edited. Like it looked like what I remembered those movies before I went back and watched them, and Band of the Hand, and even Miami Vice. That director's name, who I adore, is escaping me right
Michael
now.
Mann.
Yeah, thank you. And a lot of cool, just almost like techniques that I feel like you don't see a lot anymore in contemporary film. Like this was probably this probably had as many cuts for cut's sakes as a lot of like in point of view changes, like the camera point of view changes that a lot of like contemporary action and horror movies have, like in their unnecessary camera movement and stuff like that now. But it was so unnoticeable because it really was kind of like moving you around this car in a really sexy way. I thought, and like you almost didn't realize that the camera was moving a lot in the way it was working, and the fading with the movement of the other vehicles and the lights of the other vehicles and the kind of weird ambient lighting in the car.
Exactly.
It was just like I just can't say enough about how it looked. Now, with all films that are like that, there are two ways that it can be. It can carry you, and that's okay, right? This film looks good, and that's enough. It looks beautiful. You know, like there's an argument to be made for, you know, people like early Argento's whole career is based on the fact of how beautiful the film is, and that's okay. Mario Bava being another great example of that. But sort of from a review point of view, sometime I've said this before, that's like saying that a girl has really nice hair, right? Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's anything to the movie. Like, it's just eye candy. But I think that between the performance and the craftsmanship of this film, I feel that there's a kind of soul to this movie. My one complaint about it is kind of by the end, I just didn't care because I felt like I'm still coughing because of the fucking shit Raven Shadow pulled early in the film. When I can't sing Covered in Blood at the end of the show, it's Raven Shadow's fault. I didn't... Everyone... While I understood that everyone that he spoke with on the phone had to be inept to a certain degree to have him have any sort of story, right? If that guy's like, "Hey, Locke, everything's okay. The concrete's perfect. See you later. You don't have to call anymore. Everything worked out good, and all the roads are closed appropriately." And, you know, his wife was like, you know, handled it. I thought she was the only, like, kind of believable reaction, and, like, his stupid, doped-up lover, like, didn't keep calling and saying stupid things and whatever else. There wouldn't be, like, any sort of trajectory here, but, like, because of the simplicity of the setup of this movie, some of these people, especially the repeat callers, the person who was doing the job for him, for instance, really started to take me out of the movie by how stupid and annoying and unrealistic they were. I don't know if you could say this as a spoiler, but the scene where he finds that person's number and calls him and is acting like he just won the World Cup. Like, "I found the number. Hey, aren't you happy?" Like, he had 2 beers and, you know, he was acting like a drunk 8-year-old.
2 ciders.
2 ciders, sorry. Yeah, 2 wobbly pops, and he was, you
2
know.
ciders.
Where are my fizzy pops?
So, yeah, like, I felt like for characters who were only acting through their voice, that, you know, a lot of those people weren't very believable performances. Like, I guess it might happen, but, like, I can't believe that you would call a town official that probably got his job through some sort of, like, voting or decision, and he's going to hang up on somebody, like, under any circumstances. So characters like that were almost too over the top. But I guess without it, there wouldn't be a movie, right? And I think that the positives of the visuals of this film and Tom Hardy's performance and the musical choice, the scores of this, the whole package is really, really beautiful. My only complaints are all the people that you can't see. Not the dad that's not really in the back seat, but like the people on the phone, because they are all unrealistically obnoxious. That said, I did enjoy this film. It was trying for me because it wasn't what I thought it was, and I'll get to this in the end. I'm not sure that I can necessarily recommend it to our listeners.
Whoa.
Whoa.
All right. Well, why don't we have Joe? I'd like to get your thoughts on Locke.
If you want to fit in, just tell me I'm an idiot right out of the box.
What a dumbass.
Thank you.
I've seen this film twice. I think it's awesome. What's fascinating about it, I don't know if you guys are familiar, if you've seen the trailer or not, but the trailer is one of those trailers where, I mean, especially in this movie, it's like the trailer is him driving, and then it's like a quote where it's like cinematic gold, and then him driving, and it's like best performance ever. With these kind of movies, you know, this immediately reminded me of a movie like Buried or Frozen, you know, where these high concept movies, he's in the car the whole movie, what the hell is he going to do, that sort of thing. Again, I saw it a month and a half ago when I was on vacation, and then I watched it right today, right before the show, and I think it's a great movie for what it's going for. You know, as far as the concept itself, I mean, Dynamo, you keep talking about how beautiful it is, and it is a really good-looking film. It's well edited. I think everyone in it, you know, they do what they're supposed to do. But the story really it's kind of like a three different storylines between three different people he's talking to.
That's correct.
And, you know, to me, that's really what drives it. I mean, I guess you fell off the last act because it got old or something, but, you know, I think that's the kind of stuff that movies are made for, because it's like that you know, that story is really strong, and if that foundation of him on the cell phone the whole movie doesn't work, I mean, it's like you can easily be like, fuck this movie. But I thought all of it was pretty much realistic within that. I mean, it's hard to say because a lot, you know, you were complaining about like the state official hanging up on him. You know, you have to kind of paint the picture that we're thrown in, and he has relationships with these people, and you have to kind of plan it out in your head where it's like he probably has a relationship with that state official and has talked to him on several occasions, and then he hangs up the phone because he probably drove him nuts the whole week building up to the actual concrete dump, you know, whatever.
And he is calling it like 9:30 at night or something, right? So
right. So I mean, the only real issue I had with it, and you know, it may, I guess things like this in other movies would be nitpicks, but here it's a little bit more of an issue because it is the movie itself.
Right.
But to me, when he was having those moments of talking to his dead father, they seemed to do it one too many times. I like the first time it happens. The visualization of him talking into the rearview mirror isn't always great. And, you know, I could just do without maybe him doing that twice instead of 4 times, you know, that kind of thing.
And I think the static shot of that back seat is like really sort of holding the viewer's hand a little too much.
Yeah.
Right. Like, why not just have it be like the first time it does happen, you know, they flash to the back seat and then it's his performance, like kind of pointing at the camera as if he's seeing his father in the back seat. And I kind of like if you stay on him, as you know, because that's what the movie is. It's like, stay on him. This is the performance. We don't need to see the backseat of nothing, you know.
Right.
As long as you keep it on, as long as you keep it on him, he sells it. Because the first time it happens, it doesn't feel stupid because 98% of it is on his face.
And you have to catch up too, which is one thing I like about filmmaking. Sometimes is that, you know, there's a kind of a second where you're like, well, who's he talking to? Like, did I miss him pick up the phone or? Like it's you know, you figure out the performance, you figure out his kind of his I don't want to say his crazy, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it. And I think that was what was so cool about that. But then, like you said, like to do it again in the way they presented it again, like in case you didn't get it the first time.
Right.
Yeah, it would almost be like cutting to a close up of the phone when the people he's talking to are talking back to him. You know, it's just not appropriate almost.
Well, the way they visualize the phone in this movie is so awesome with the Bluetooth screen and the knob in the middle. I love that aesthetic.
Yeah.
And you know, this movie has a really nice attitude about it where it makes looking at a car driving down a highway interesting in the best way. It feels like, you know, they did not run out of ideas midway through the movie to show him driving. You know, they made it constantly interesting, which is hard, you know, with this kind of high concept movie. it did its job. And for you to walk out of a movie where it's like it's a car on a highway driving, it's visually interesting.
Right.
That's a pretty big achievement.
Yeah. Do you think,
definitely.
and this is for Wolfie as well, one thing that I got curious about, as like filmmakers, and obviously you don't know, but I'm asking you what you think. Maybe not even what you think, like how you would do it if you were tasked with the same thing. Do you think a lot of his coverage came from, just shooting and then kind of editing that stuff in? Or, I just wonder how much of the language of the camera movement was like on paper or in his mind. Like that's one thing that I'm very interested in, that I wonder if I'll pick up on multiple viewings, because it goes to the screen, it goes to his hands, it goes to,
Right.
like off angles of him. And I wonder if there was just like a lot of coverage of these performances, or, like how this was shot up and how this was set. Like I'm interested in it as like what would you guys do? Would you guys just, have him get the performance, then get a lot of coverage? Like maybe those weren't even Tom Hardy's hands.
Well, I mean, I actually, when I see a movie like this, my first thought after it's over, especially because it's awesome, is how did they do that? So I did research immediately after it was over the first time I watched it, and the movie was shot over 6 days with actually him in the car. And they were all night shoots, and they actually had 3 cameras, and they shot in real time the entire movie twice a night for 6 nights in a row. And then without Tom Hardy, they did B-roll for 2 days of, I guess, the car driving and mainly exteriors. So, I mean, they shot this movie 12 times, and then shot exteriors the last 2 days. So, total of 8 days, 6 days in the car, you're going to get a feeling of what things are. And, I mean, I think it's all Tom Hardy, to answer your question, if it's not him in certain instances. Except for the helicopter shot or whatever, you know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Which that also reminded me a little bit of Michael Mann. I thought I don't know why I was pulling that. Like, some of the colors and stuff I was getting a little rough in it, but like there was just maybe it's just the wet road and the headlights and everything else. But like,
right.
I mean, this was like, not to downplay a director that I enjoy, but I mean, this was obviously a much better film than Band of the Hand. But
well, I was kind of thinking about Collateral a little bit.
I don't know what that is. I know that I've seen it.
Oh, Collateral's a great movie. I can see that for sure.
Yeah, like with Tom Cruise and Jamie Foxx, where he's the hitman. Right.
Oh yeah. I love that movie, and I saw that in the theater, and I don't think I've ever saw it again. But I hate that like Tom Cruise is the type of guy that you're ashamed that you like it, even when he makes awesome performances. Like because we grew up with him mugging it up in Cocktail and Top Gun, and just kind of playing that flipping his hair back sort of character. I'm probably just jealous that he has hair.
Yeah.
So
I'm not ashamed to like him. I actually stick up for him quite a bit. He's one of my favorite actors, really.
Yeah, Eyes Wide Shut. Like he's definitely done more good than certainly bad, but there's just something about him. Like,
well, yeah, I haven't seen all of his films in the last several years, but from all the shows I listen to and all reports, like he's been picking some really fantastic roles.
Yeah.
I think it's either just hit VOD or will soon, but Edge of Tomorrow supposedly is quite good.
Rechristened too.
I saw it actually, and it's a great movie. Honestly,
really.
It looks like just another blockbuster, but because he was in it, Emily Blunt definitely helps as well.
Sure.
But because he was in it, I checked it out, and it was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
And I know that Guillermo del Toro is he wants to do his I'm drawing a blank on the name now, but he would
Lovecraft.
Yeah. He said he wants to do it with Tom Cruise, and Tom Cruise is on board. Like if that ever happens, then Tom Cruise is on board to do it. So
what's the name of the movie?
Is it the Mountain of Madness?
Mountain of Madness, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Well, I think he deaded that because of Prometheus.
Prometheus, right?
Yeah, that was it. He was like, "Ah, shit, they stole my idea."
Yeah. There's been some rumors that he was going to resurrect it again, though. But I don't know. I mean, he's got a lot on his plate.
Yeah,
so.
he has more movies in development than certainly that he's made at all. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any more comments on this before we move on, Joe?
And I broke everything.
I think Hardy is amazing in this.
He's
so
great.
Good. And his accent he's a very calming presence. And what's interesting about him, especially on a second watch, is that you have these scenes with his wife particularly, and she keeps saying, "I don't know you. I don't know who you are." And us as an audience don't really know who he is either. We're just kind of judging him off of these phone calls and him driving down a highway. And what's fascinating about it is that, you know, he kind of is looking. He keeps saying, like, I'm going in this direction. I can't turn back. He keeps telling everyone. Yeah. And, you know, he's kind of, by the end of the movie, it feels like he's kind of a new person.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot about, in this movie, especially on rewatch, about identity and who you are as a person. And a lot of the dialogue from his job's point of view is, you know, you've been perfect for 9 or 10 years, but, you know, you fuck up the one night we really need you. And that's just really interesting to see it from that perspective.
Yeah. Something to support that I agree with you 100%. And one thing that I feel like drove that home was the cool script device that he was in a position to say his name over and over again, and like how he was someone else to everybody on the other end of that conversation.
Right, like when you hear the title Locke, you're like, what the fuck is this?
Right.
And the fact that he answers the phone in the way he does, it gives a little more purpose to it.
Yeah.
And for the record, I hate movies that have the title character as the name of the movie, and this does it pretty well.
Like Superman?
No, like movies movies called Jane or Megan.
Yeah.
It's like try again.
I can't believe that I've done 112 of these.
Plus a 0, the Halloween.
Yeah, there's more actually.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. The great debate.
Yeah.
Do you know Halloween was a bad movie, Joe? You
Yeah?
heard that? Yeah.
I've heard over the years.
Yeah.
It's not that.
This cat here. He'll tell you because it has a lot to do with the lights in the house.
It does.
Yeah.
It's a poorly made film. What can I say?
All right, we don't need to. Yeah.
Hey, I didn't bring it up.
Yeah.
Dino Mutt brought it up. I didn't bring it up.
I would love to come back on here and discuss. We talk about the original Halloween.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to come back on and
Just debate too for
I mean,
Halloween.
I mean, for the record, I like the movie, but I don't think it's amazing. I've had some issues with it that I've discussed on my own show over the years.
Oh my God! Someone's
thank you, Joe. Thank you. So fuck you, and fuck you, especially fuck you, Dynamo and Tiny. I don't see you, but fuck you too.
I'm the one who had to cuddle you. Because we had this bet, right?
Oh,
that
Jesus.
It was a debate.
Here we go.
It was Monster Zero versus Tiny White in the debate of the validity of Halloween, whether or not it was a good film or not.
No, whether it was an influential film.
An influential film. We had judges on and the whole 9 yards, and I don't know how I ended up like being the victim here, no matter who lost or won. But if Monster Zero lost the debate and he got stomped like a knock at a biker rally, I had to cuddle him while he watched Raiders of the Lost Ark.
That was what you offered. That was what
No,
you
I
offered.
didn't offer that, sir. I wasn't like, you know what would be
Well, I
good,
know I didn't offer it.
You know what would be good if I cuddled Monster Zero? I would enjoy that quite a bit.
Yeah. If I win, I have to suck his
Actually,
dick.
it wasn't cuddling; it was spooning.
Spooning
Right.
while watching Raiders of the Lost Ark, which I eventually did watch without any spooning action from Dynamo.
No, you did.
We spooned.
Yeah.
There's pictures on the internet.
Pictures.
Is there shit?
Oh yeah, there are pictures.
The actual bet was if it was influential.
No, I agree it's influential. It's one of the most influential movies of all time. It's whether it's a good movie or not.
I think it was a good movie.
Right. I was going to say, like, come on. That's ridiculous.
No, you'd have to be high to say that it's not
I was
influential.
going to say, like.
But apparently Monster Zero, who had never seen a debate before, came with 2 black notebooks full of notes and tried to read them all fast.
Yeah,
that was his
because
debating technique.
The lights went off. The lights went off in the house much too quickly after he left.
Yeah.
If that's what you're looking for in a movie, I feel bad for you.
Yeah. I really think his opening volley started with frame 1.
Title credits. Halloween. Bullshit.
Right.
All right.
Like that font is shit.
It was clearly springtime. There was no leaves falling.
Springtime for Hitler.
Yeah, in Germany.
All right, we have 4 more people to go, so let's keep the train rolling.
Let's keep the car rolling.
Yeah, Raven Shadow.
Yeah, I can go quick.
I've heard.
That's what she said.
Yeah. How was your aunt? Shit. Good. I don't really want to talk too much because
Thank God.
Hey,
good.
really fucking, I put on a fucking T for you pricks. Sorry, Joe. Bear with us, brother. Okay. I'm gonna come on your show and talk. No, I like this movie. I mean, the fact that I was telling some people today, yeah, it's that fucking awesome guy. He was Bane. He was Bronson. He was the motherfucker in Inception. Well, picture him doing all that cool stuff, but he's in a car. You know what I mean? Like, who else is there? Just him and the steering wheel. But it was kind of compelling, right? Like, I don't know if this has ever been done before. I really enjoy the left lane.
Oh my God!
Come on.
It's so true. When you pitch this movie, it is like people are like, "What the fuck? They can't be good."
Yeah,
it's so
like,
true.
Like as good as Ryan Reynolds in The Coffin. I'm like, well, I don't fucking know about that.
Right.
But it was really compelling, and I don't want to talk too much about the phone calls because I think that is the journey. Like, seeing as how this road trip, pretty much probably in real time, is really breaking down this character. And I think if you give too many of the conversations away, you might give away where he's going. And I didn't know where he was going, aside from London. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think he made few wrong decisions in who he called that night. What did he expect would happen? But no, I was along for the ride, and I think Tom Hardy is kind of going to be the shit, right? I mean...
Oh, he is the shit. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Like, he's really... I mean, he's only going to go up from here. And I'm not sure, was Stephen Knight, was this his first film?
This was. He's actually a writer.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed the journey, and I once again I don't want to say too much about it, but I highly recommend this film, and it somehow it fucking works.
This is a film I wasn't certain, but I thought there was a good chance that you would hate.
100%.
Really? Yeah.
I would have lost. I would have been cuddling Monster Zero again.
No, I think he had an amazing Bluetooth connection.
I love this beard, man. His beard was awesome.
I don't know if they get Verizon in England, but I tell you, I could fucking talk to Johnny from my house about a half an hour away, and it's like, what's the topic of the show? But this motherfucker.
There was a few times where the people in the other on the other line would be like, "What'd you say?" and he'd have to repeat it. I felt like that was realistic.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
And I mean,
yes.
when they were actually shooting it in real time, they're all actually sitting. Like, I guess you'd assumed, oh, it's ADR'd in or whatever, but they're all actually sitting in a hotel room being cued to actually in real time pick up the phone and call, which is pretty crazy.
That's awesome.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty insane.
And in like New England's cell service and fiber optics defense, it's probably hard for Raven Shadow to lean out the window with that Campbell soup can and not have it get caught on the string get caught on other cars as he's driving down the street.
I mean, the real question is, does this car have Wi-Fi? That's the real question.
It's got lo-fi.
Yes.
I just looked up real quick because I thought he had done one other movie. I don't know if this was filmed after Locke or not, but he did, speaking of Jason Statham, he did direct and write a movie called Hummingbird or Redemption with Jason Statham.
Oh, so that's technically before this. But I guess I don't know when they shot
Yeah, I don't.
exactly.
Yeah. They both are listed as 2013, so it's possible. I mean, especially with the schedule that Locke had, that
I think this is
easily fit in.
I think Redemption is maybe on Insta right now.
No, I think Redemption, if I'm not mistaken, Redemption came out at the beginning of this year, or I think so. I can remember it being like one of those January releases, if I'm not mistaken.
That motherfucker is on Netflix streaming instant like no one else. Like Robin Williams had to die to get that sort of like.
He's just horrible. I hate him so much.
I like his sweaters. Does that count for anything?
Yeah, I would say the sweaters you could definitely put into account.
He has a nice sidekick.
Yeah,
appreciate that.
He just annoys me.
Anything else, Raven Shadow?
No,
it's all about the journey.
Love the journey.
You want people to have their own experience with this journey.
Yeah,
You're a nice guy.
Drive to London.
Drive to London. You gotta
hop in a car.
Watch the movie while you're driving to
Don't
London.
do that. I mean, I don't know.
You can experience it that way.
Probably on your phone. Your really cool fucking London-based mobile device.
Yeah, I really thought that this review was going to go like, this motherfucker drove 90 minutes before he realized he was on the wrong side of the car.
I tell you right, there's fucking more driving in this than that motherfucker drive.
Shut up.
At least he got in the fucking comic. When's this motherfucker
He's right.
driving?
No, he's right.
No, he drove it. He drove a lot of times in Drive, and it was awesome.
He drove a lot faster in Drive.
The opening
probably
scene
went
of
the same
Drive is one of the
distance.
best scenes in movies in the last 20 years, I think.
What are you talking about?
The
Simon?
opening scene in Drive.
I actually just rewatched it. I completely agree with you. It is insane how good that opening is.
It's fucking good. Yeah.
I remember being in the theater, and even the opening titles hitting with the music, and I was like, "This is gonna be fucking amazing."
Yeah.
Yeah. People with taste and brains think so usually.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, MZ, why don't
There
you
we
go
go.
ahead and talk about this
Yes. Well,
while you fondle your Starscream.
Folks.
Hey now. The tenacity that this actor had to have in order to perform in a car in a closed environment throughout the entire course of the film, basically, is amazing to me. Not since probably, I'm not even going to count Speed, because at least they get off the goddamn bus and onto a goddamn subway. But I'll go even further than that. I'll go say Lucio Fulci's Door into Silence, where even though John Savage, he gets out of the car every now and then, for about 80% of the film, he's in that goddamn car driving around in Louisiana. So, and it takes a certain something. But this was much, much more, because Speed happened during the course of the day. So the daylight changes. Same thing with Door into Silence. Here it is pitch black night out. So, the entire course of the film, there is no real change. There's no change in the sky. So it's completely dark. He's in a completely closed environment. So the tenacity of this actor is absolutely amazing to go through a film like this.
Well, to be fair, some people drive for a living, and
Right.
they can track the trailers.
Yep.
Cabbies.
Please stop talking about fucking Speed 2 as well. It's like fucking...
I didn't talk about Speed 2. I talked about Speed.
Speed 1.
Speed as well. It's like fucking talking, like reviewing The Raid and comparing it to Police Academy.
Hey. You know what? You had your turn. Shut the fuck up. Jesus, he can't shut up for a second. All right. And it's a completely dialogue-driven flick. No pun intended. It's a completely dialogue-driven flick, and the fact that there's no action, the fact that there's no... What the fuck are you laughing at?
Where was the pun?
Driven film.
Driven film.
Yeah.
That was
What?
actually a fucking good one. Okay.
It was so good it went over your head.
It's
God
true.
damn. All right. And the fact that there's no action in dealing with the car itself, like he almost, in the time that he's talking to these people on the phone, there's no incidents where he almost got into an accident or he had to stop suddenly or any action involving with him driving the car, except for him just driving the car.
I don't even think, was there even any braking? It was all highway.
There was
wasn't
just
it?
one time where he stopped near the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was.
Oh, yeah.
He
Right,
was.
right.
There's one scene where he pulled up next to a truck.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he was stopped.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Get the fuck out the way. Come on, get on with it. It's fucking
But
red.
this was mostly, that's worth mentioning that this is mostly highway driving too.
It
It's
is.
not like
the pike.
he's like making turns and there's a lot of like hand movement and stuff as she's just like literally in one fucking position almost
Right.
the entire movie.
Yeah, and that takes a lot. That can't be easy to do.
Well, the fact that let me just say the fact that it just didn't bore the shit out of everyone that saw it is a
Yeah.
huge testament to not
Yeah.
only the cinematography, the directing, and the general
And the
movie
writing.
making.
I mean,
And
'cause the writing-
and his acting.
the-
It's just you shouldn't be able to pull that off. Like
'Cause-
where it's a movie worth talking about and worth raving about.
Yeah, you got to have something for a dialogue-driven film. You have to have something very fucking interesting to talk about, and in a film like this, you can't miss anything. There's maybe one or two throwaway lines or scenes that you can completely cut out of this film, and it wouldn't change the tone of the film or the story of the film. About 99% of the time, there's something going on in every scene in which it is detrimental to the plot of the film and the story of Ivan Locke and his life.
That's actually a very, very good point. the writing of this film and the dialogue and the exchanges were very economically written in the sense where there wasn't a lot of fat. Like the
it was very
dialogue was
streamlined.
obviously the action of the movie and what moved the plot along. And
It was extremely streamlined. I was very impressed with it.
Right, and you said dialogue driven. I mean, there's dialogue driven movies like The Social Network, and then there's this movie. I mean, to me, I would call this a high concept movie, even though that might sound negative. But like you said, this movie has no business being as good as it is. And I mean, just going back quickly to Tom Hardy's performance, especially on rewatch, you get like his little tics of him rubbing his beard, constantly pulling up the sleeves on his shirt,
blowing his nose,
and actually that's going back to the making of quick. He actually had a real cold, and that's why it was written into the script.
That's what I figured.
That he had a cold.
Oh,
yeah,
that's what I figured.
It's funny.
Right.
And Hardy's performance is absolutely mesmerizing. Yeah. I could not take my eyes off of this guy for a second. Not that the camera really gave you that much of a chance to do that anyway, but be that as it may. But I was hooked onto every word he was saying, and every word that he was talking to on the phone was saying. It was just very detrimental to the plot and to the characters. The editing, when you said that, when it was mentioned that it was filmed in real time, what I did when I was also watching this film is that I was also paying very special attention to the editing, and what I mean by that is the cars behind him, and to see if when the camera changed positions, if that same car or same motorcycle would still be in the same shot. And for the most part, it is. I would say about 70%, 75% of the time, the editing is spot on, dead on, perfect. And I will agree with, I think it was Dynamo who mentioned that the car, the way this film looks is just beautiful. I mean, just the way the reflection of the lights off the cars and just the lights in general. And it looks like a car commercial. It looks like a high-class car commercial in some shots.
Like a nice car commercial,
yeah.
not so glossy.
Yeah, well, he drives a BMW. I mean, that, that pretty much sells it right there.
That could come off as pretty obnoxious, and it actually doesn't one bit. It's really that center knob, that center knob that he controls is fucking amazing.
The center knob.
I want one of those.
It's all about the center knob.
Seriously.
You know what else is interesting? And feel free to everyone or anyone here to tell me that I'm wrong. There is
You're wrong.
You're wrong.
there's a thing in any sort of movie like this, whether it be like you said, a high concept film like Buried or Frozen, or the really really cool found footage movie where the people were stuck in the water with the sharks there.
Open water?
Yeah, I think that was it. You have the kind of typical cliche leaning to make where they are or what they're in be almost like a character in the movie. And I feel like despite the fact he spends all the time in the car and there's a bit given to like how you guys are talking about the Bluetooth console and the screen and everything. Like the car isn't like so much like a character in this movie, like to the point where it's distracting. Like this is definitely like about Tom Hardy, who's incidentally in a car. Like this isn't like in a really weird way. This isn't a car movie at all.
No, it's no. It just you're right. It just so happens to take place.
It is not a Michael Bay Transformers film, is what he's trying to say.
How amazing would it have been if the car transformed at the end?
Oh shit!
You would have been like, holy shit! What is the message of this?
Yeah,
that's a fucking movie.
There's some deep meaning involved in that.
At the end, I thought he was going to drive to heaven. Like at that part, I'm like, he's going to drive off there and be in heaven, and that's why.
Like at the end of Grease.
That's why we're reviewing this movie.
No, the end of Repo Man.
Yeah.
Fly away.
What if at the end it transforms and he blows up the hospital with the robot?
Oh shit, Joe, you writing this down? This is your next project.
The end turns into a cement truck, and he just
it's fucking meta.
Yeah, he just
he
buries
is the
them
truck.
all. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Actually, I'll wait till my turn. We all set, MZ?
No.
Okay, go.
Furthermore,
Furthermore,
and another thing.
And let me tell you something.
Moving on to Speed 2.
I just
Dafoe's
want to
character.
say, my only gripe that I have with it was the ending. I felt now I guess you could just take it for however you want to take it. I was kind of hoping a little bit more.
How do you like to take it?
I was hoping. Shut up. I was hoping for. I was expecting. I shouldn't say I was hoping. I was expecting an ironic ending, and unfortunately, I didn't get that. Not that I'm complaining that much, because the whole of the film really anchors the ending to a certain degree, I would imagine.
Yeah,
it feels like it doesn't really end. Actually,
I
don't know.
I think it does.
It does. It does
the words
end.
come up, right?
Huh?
Or something
You
begins.
saw the words come up.
Yeah.
Starring Tom Hardy.
Names and stuff.
I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah.
He's
It's.
still watching it.
I mean, yeah. It's still. Yeah. I mean, yeah. It ends, and I guess you could say it begins. But.
Yep.
I mean, you don't want to have that spawn off into a sequel. This movie's working just fine.
No.
It'd be better if like Sam Jack showed up.
And it's gonna be the locks.
The sequel.
Him and the baby and the other woman.
He gets out of the car in this one. It's called Unlock.
Yeah.
It's called Trunk.
But
Did anybody else have a growing suspicion that the baby might die at the end of this movie?
yes. Not only that.
Spoiler alert.
Can I throw this one in?
Little bit.
Not only was I expecting the baby to die,
Yeah.
I was kind of expecting the mother to die. And then,
right.
in that way, it would be like,
Oh, fucking problem solved.
he didn't have to say anything at all to anybody.
That's
you
I
know?
actually yeah.
That's what I was kind of thinking of.
As the film was progressing, I actually thought that might be one of the outcomes.
Yeah.
Like all this happened, and he didn't even have to say anything.
Yeah, it would have been a complete like Twilight Zone or Tales from the Crypt episode.
I would have thought maybe they were like. There was a point, honestly, too, where I thought maybe that everyone on the phone was ghosts. I was just
Horrible.
I just had
That's a bold interpretation.
I literally had no idea like why we were watching this movie. Like
You know
I mean,
what, though? When you look at, if you looked at the ending, I like when you look at Buried. That's kind of the twist of Buried, if you've seen it.
Yeah.
You know, when if it was like the baby died, he didn't have to say anything. You would not be looking as deep as you should into this character. I think, like you would have just walked away and been like, he didn't have to say anything. What a waste of time. You know, like to me, if that was the ending, it would be way more gimmicky.
I agree. That was I feel like that sort of kind of shenanigan cheap filmmaking like had its time in the sun in the 90s and just you see right through that shit now.
Yeah. It wasn't that movie. I mean, I felt like it was going to go in a weird direction too, and I'm almost, not ashamed to have interpreted it that way, but kind of like I feel a little stupid because I should have realized halfway through this movie that that's not what I was watching,
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I kind of thought like maybe it might pan out that she wasn't pregnant at all, and she wasn't at a hospital at all, and she was just kind of like whatever the like Fatal Attraction style, sort of sucking him in.
I think in our defense, like in Joe, you maybe at least on the second time certainly knew what you were in for. Like I feel like our expectations were like skewed by the fact that there's like a certain type of movie we watch like week after week, whether it's garbage like Leprechaun or something awesome like Snowpiercer,
Blue Ruin.
Blue Ruin. Even Blue Ruin like is kind of is at least tangentially in our wheelhouse, but like I think everybody's just kind of expecting like, well, we're watching this, there's got to be a ghost.
Right.
It's like she's gonna come in.
Well, I love that you actually invited me on for this show particularly too, and even if it was a fluke that you were reviewing Locke, because I'm a movie fan in general, and I feel like this is a movie for movie fans. It's not just it's not. I would hate to be invited on for a Leprechaun origin. You know what I mean?
I hated to be invited on too.
Sorry, change.
Right, like as soon as you said Locke, I was like, "Fuck yes!" And I just watched it a month ago too.
Yeah.
So it's definitely an interesting watch, and especially when you're like, I actually was watching it with someone this time, my best friend, and I was actually jealous. I was like, I wish I can erase my memory and rewatch this again for the first time, because I mean, it is a rewatchable movie, but I mean, once you've seen it, it's like, okay, I mean, maybe if I wasn't doing the show, I wouldn't have rewatched it, but
Sure.
it still does hold up, and it's a good story to be told.
Right.
Yeah, it is.
And I wanted to bring up real quick when there's 2 moments where he snaps in this, and
Yep.
he just starts flipping out.
Yeah.
And his calmness is so so I think calculated in this movie. And even when things are hitting the fan, he's very calm. He's like, "Well, I'm driving. I'll be there when I can. I'm not gonna, I can only go 80 miles an hour, whatever he says." And then there are moments where he just flips out, and I feel like those moments are almost jump scare worthy because you don't expect him. And I mean, that's a testament to the performance once again.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So,
He's got incredible. For the character, has got incredible restraint.
Right.
And calmness to him. And when you see him just jump out the way he does in those 2 scenes, it makes it just that much more powerful to watch. It's
right. I mean, I
it's
think
truly
in real
an
life,
amazing performance.
Right. I think in real life it feels like he'd be a dick, but in this movie you actually sympathize with him the majority of the time.
Yeah.
Like that thought did cross my mind second time watching it. Like I think he might be an ass. Like I might not like him in real life, but just for this hour and a half, he's actually I like him and I feel bad for him.
Let me tell you the one time when he fell off, and the one time like where he kind of got his comeuppance a little bit is the scene where he had a really nice speech about telling me, to his wife, he's like, "Tell me I'm not driving one way. Tell me I have somewhere to go back to."
Yeah.
And the performance said he believed everything he said, but he also realized that his wife knew what was more important to him right there, and that was to get that phone number, and took the wind out of his sails. And his reaction was like part of disappointment that he lost, I feel like, and part of like he didn't even know. Like he was so good at doing whatever it took to get done what he needed to do that he didn't even know he was bullshitting. Like that was like a brilliant performance in that particular scene.
Yeah, I agree.
MZ, anything else?
No, I'm pretty much done.
All right, Tiny, why don't you go ahead and speak on Locke?
I'm a little concerned because I have a lot of things to say about this, and we're getting shorter and shorter on time. This was a very original and very bold movie. I like I said, I'm shocked that it worked out the way that it did, and that we're not just panning it as a fucking boring waste of time, because by all rights, that's what it should be, But I don't know. There's historical precedent for this in like one-man stage plays and stuff like that, and maybe stuff like I don't know. There's some intimate novels like with this sort of mood, like Vox by Nicholson Baker, which is just basically 2 people talking with each other on the phone. If you like this movie, I would recommend that book to anybody that is interested in that sort of human interaction. Is very good. And it kind of played out. It was bold in the same way that something like Dogville, or there's another sort of stage play style movie called Low, about about a demon that gets summoned to to chat with this guy, and it's kind of turns out to be an Orpheus and Eurydice sort of movie. Some cool stuff, but man, like I don't know, in a freaking car, it just very shocking to me that they were able to pull it off. And I'm not a big stage play sort of fan. But this, to all intents and purposes, really kind of may as well have been that, aside from the fact that they were able to buffer it a little bit by pulling out and showing the car from outside and movement and stuff like that. It pretty much was a stage play, right? So
yeah, and the way they filmed it too, like which I didn't know.
definitely, yeah. And again, it's almost like you kind of almost didn't have to hear what the person on the other side was saying. You probably could have pulled it off just by responding to them. It wouldn't have been as interesting a movie without some other voices in it and stuff. But I think he probably could have done the whole goddamn movie by himself, just presenting and reacting to what was going on the other side of the movie, of the phone. But anyway, something that I haven't heard anybody mention so far, and I think it will be a revelation to everybody and almost a visual spoiler. I'm almost like don't want to mention it because I think anybody that's going to be watching it for the first time may not have noticed it either. But many of the scenes where you have traffic movement and reflections and stuff like that weren't reflections, they were overlays. They passed the not just the windshield but the rest of the scene and everything. and a lot of it didn't have anything to do with what was going on around him. It was like city traffic, like trucks and stuff like that, like made for a very, very dreamy sort of situation, because you have this very straightforward situation with this guy driving in his car, and then you have these overlays that are almost like warping time a little bit. You know what I mean? He's traveling at like 60 miles an hour or whatever, 60, 70 miles an hour. And you have this like slow moving city traffic with like trucks and stuff just like either stopped or like slowly moving and stuff. It was very, very surreal. And I think it played a huge role in creating the mood of this, that dreamy sort of weird, like more time passing than was actually passing in reality as the scenes played out and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it was a very, very significant visual decision by the movie makers here, the director, whoever pushed it in that direction, the DP or whoever, to use overlays rather than actual window reflections, and especially if they were doing actual filming of the car in that traffic. It makes me wonder how and why they took it in that direction. It's clearly just an artistic direction, but I think without that, this is a totally different movie, a completely different movie. The mood of this movie would be completely altered by not using those overlays instead of in lieu of actual reflections. But so let me see. I was taking a couple notes here while you guys were talking. Let me just poke at these for a second. One of the things that I think is just fucking amazing in this movie, insofar as his performance is concerned, is that when I think back about this movie and I'm like, okay, let me think, like, how did it open up? Like, what were the interactions and everything? Multiple times in this movie, my recollection of what was happening wasn't of the... I mean, most of the movies we review, my recollection of, like, Raid Redemption is, like, these two guys are fighting. They're squaring off each other. They're, like, crossing wrists and stuff like that. That's what you remember. When I think back on this stuff, what I remember is, like, his wife in the bedroom crying, or in the bathroom throwing up, or, the woman in the hospital and the people around her, the guy, like, running down the street to try to get to the rebar, the guys that are going to provide new rebar.
That
and
scene
stuff
was
like that.
amazing.
Yes.
I mean, like, it was like reading a book. It was in a very, very real way. This was like watching an audiobook. Like, because there's so little going on the screen, you're actually sort of like hypnotized and drawn in creating these scenes that they're just talking about. Like the son says, "Oh, mom's in the bathroom throwing up," and everything, and then all of a sudden you're in that house. You know what I mean? You're talking on the phone, and you're picturing what you would picture when you were talking to somebody on the phone, which is what they're talking about. So, yeah, like, so much of this movie, really, whenever he's on the phone, you're in that other place, which is so crazy and just, like, profoundly impressive. Go ahead.
And if it was told in the way you were saying, like, it's so true that it definitely is a point of view movie. And if it was told with flashing to the guy at his desk trying to find the number, it would be shit. Like, this movie's awesome.
Garbage. Yep.
This movie's awesome because it stays in the car.
Right.
Yes, definitely. It's just so amazing to me. My mind is kind of blown that when I think back about the scenes in this movie, I remember scenes that didn't exist. Like, I
agree with you. I agree.
Very vivid visual recollection of something that didn't even happen in the movie.
And what's so cool about it is that your version could be different than my version, different than Dynamo's. It's so cool the way that they're able to paint that picture, and we all kind of agree.
I know my version is different because in my version, the voice actors for his assistant and the pregnant woman were the manager and the Irish guy from the IT crowd. I was 100% positive that that's who was doing the voice acting in this movie, and it's not them at all. It's Moriarty from the Sherlock series, and another woman that's been in a bunch of British
shit.
Who and stuff. I was absolutely fucking 100% positive that it was, what's his freaking name? It's Tom. Shit, I'm not going to digress. So, hold on, I have it right here actually.
For what character? Donal or
Tom Holland?
No, it's Chris O'Dowd is who I was picturing for the assistant.
He's well O'Dowd.
Yeah, Chris O'Dowd, who was in IT Crowd, which is awesome. And he was also in Bridesmaids as the like love interest, whatever. The quintessential Irish, like tall, like skinny Irish actor right now. He's been in a ton of shit. And I was 100% positive, because I figured that was him for sure, which it wasn't. That the pregnant woman was Catherine Parkinson. Parkinson from the IT Crowd, which is totally not her either. So my recollection of what was going on in this movie is definitely going to be different than anybody that was just, that didn't have a visual association with the voice that they were hearing. I'm still completely blown away that it wasn't those people, because it was just a dead ringer for the voices. Absolutely just exactly the same. So my version of the story had the cast of IT Crowd plus Tom Hardy.
Holy shit, that Adam Green movie is called Frozen, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I fucked up and was going to hear about, like, I hate when I go back and listen to the show and hear a mistake I made that I know I'm going to get fucking voicemailed and lambasted about.
You're good.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, it's good. I mean, I personally didn't recognize any of the voices. I don't like to guess who the voices are, because then it takes away. I was actually just having a conversation with a buddy of mine about the movie Her, and why I love the movie, but to me I have an issue with actually knowing who Scarlett Johansson is and what she looks like.
It's a really interesting point in context with this movie. I totally see where you're coming from with that, definitely.
And I also just watched a movie, it actually just came out on video on demand in iTunes, called Frank, starring Michael Fassbender.
Oh, yeah.
And he plays a character where he's the lead singer of a band with a big giant head on for 95% of the movie. And he's awesome in it, but I thought to myself, I can't help but think, like, he's awesome. He's my favorite actor of all time. I love Michael Fassbender. And I'm thinking to myself after the movie, good movie. And I'm thinking to myself, what if it was someone I didn't know? Because I'm picturing Michael Fassbender under the helmet talking. And maybe sometimes a little more for this movie because it's pure voices. And then for the Her movie specifically, it's like, what if it wasn't Scarlett Johansson? What if it was someone who I can, especially because in that movie they want you to visualize someone.
Yeah.
So I always think about those things where it's like, would you put a name behind that voice, or should you not?
Right. Very interesting, definitely. And I think this movie in particular provides some really good context for that sort of contrast. Because if it wasn't these people, if I didn't have that association, I would have had no association whatsoever.
Right. See, I had none, and I think it made the experience better.
Yeah. Have you seen the IT? Has anybody else seen the IT Crowd?
Nope.
I have not.
Nope.
Wow, really? Oh, it's pretty fucking funny. Highly recommended. So I'll try to be concise and finish up here. So this whole thing from beginning to end was I thought was like almost like a one-man morality stage play, where this guy
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
So which was kind of awesome. It was, I don't know, it was very sort of heartening to see something that simple. You just don't kind of see stuff like that that's willing to be that honest and that forthright with its intentions. Like we were all expecting to be sideswiped, and it's just like, no, this guy just really was trying to do the right thing after making a shitty decision. It was very, very refreshing to watch something like this. It was very surprising for me, for sure.
And it's very brave. It's a very, very ballsy project to take on, and have it succeed the way it does.
That's my first note. I was just about to say, like,
I feel like I'm in Bizarro Trick or Treat Radio right now. Like,
where we appreciate good filmmaking.
Who are these people on either side of me?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think Joe says it well. It's just like at the end of the day, like we love horror movies. I love sci-fi movies. Like I can't get enough of action and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, like I know a good movie when I see it, and I love good movies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
Like on that list, Unbearable Lightness of Being was one of my top 15 or whatever movies that have moved me in my life. That's not a quintessential Trick or Treat Radio movie either, But I mean,
but this is definitely the same podcast 2 weeks ago that was pissed off that the leprechaun didn't have striped socks on, right?
Well, if it did,
just to make sure I'm in the same place.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, if it did, it could have made that top 15 for some of us. Who knows?
Yeah. So I had two more things that I wanted to mention here. Some of these many movies that span essentially a night, resolve with dawn. They give that visual resolution, like, and now everything is resolved because there's the sun. This movie kind of used that same thing, and I don't want to give too much of a spoiler, but it was that one moment where he was talking to the woman on the phone, okay, and he heard a sound on the phone, okay.
Yep.
Are you with me?
Yep.
We're there.
And you have that same sort of resolution where all of a sudden all of the tension that's been created on this during this whole time suddenly just completely dissipates because of this one thing,
Mm-hmm.
And to me that has there's some analogy there.
I think you're the only one on the show that's gone through that thing.
Yeah, there you go. Sure, it's possible. Yeah,
I've definitely traveled to try to make sure it didn't happen.
Right. I came in late.
Believe me,
Mankind
does everything they can to make sure that doesn't happen.
You've gone so far to travel back in time to make sure that happens.
True.
Yeah.
I was in the sequel.
Yeah.
The last thing that I'll say
Locked
is
up.
the end of this movie. It's not a spoiler because I'm just talking about the visual at the end. The end of this movie where that thing that I just said happens, right? And then you have some, let's say, dissipation of that tension, right? And the story it resolves, it ends in a sense, right? The leaving the car at that time, that pull away shot.
Monster Zero takes issue with that.
What's that?
That the movie ended.
Right. We'll have to have a debate about that on the next show, whether the movie actually ended or not. Is he still driving or
It's
not?
still going. Yeah.
Yep.
It's like Jay coming to the studio.
Took it 3 months.
Yep. MZ's going to show up in Hollywood. He's going to film, him driving around just to prove his point. So anyway, the scene where it pulls out and just kind of fades away into the city and all the traffic moving in night. I thought that was fucking brilliant because what that said to me was you had this moment, right? You had this moment with this particular person in this particular car, right? And you were compelled, for however long this was, hour and 20, it felt like, hour and 30 or something.
Hour 20, yeah.
Hour 20, right? So you were compelled by this story for an hour and 20 minutes, and then all of a sudden you kind of enough, okay, and it's time to go, and you pull away and you see that it's just one of all of these moving lights in the city, and every single one of these moving lights has a story with it too. You see the traffic on the highway and everything, and it's just like, holy shit, there's like a million of those stories out there waiting to be told.
You belong to the night.
Tiny's making a very poignant point here, and everyone's shitting on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I thought it was what a powerful punchline to the movie. I thought.
Yeah.
You guys really stole all my shit this week. Like most of my notes are all have been talked about. But that's actually a really good point, Tony. That I hadn't really considered the ramifications of that. Like I sort of had okay, that's a cool ending, but I hadn't really thought about that. But that's something. I mean, I guess as a writer, I'm certainly not a professional writer, but I enjoy writing, and I'm sure some of the other people
are
here
a professional writer.
are. All right, well, but that's one of the things that I think about when I'm when I'm just driving around. Like everyone has a story, right? Like this dude pumping gas, like. What's his story? Like maybe he's going on a trip to London, like this.
Maybe he needs gas.
That could be the first chapter in his story, probably.
I'm not going to make it. Pull over, Tommy.
Yeah.
Wait, did you just say pumping ass or pumping gas?
Ass.
Because that guy's definitely got a story.
Yes.
And some regrets.
I'll tell you, that story is why I've never had that other revelation in a movie happen.
But that's it's such a cool thing because I mean that's Ivan Locke's story, and how do we know? Like there could be there's millions of other stories of the other people that are on the road driving or in the city or whatever, you know. So
You belong to the city.
I don't even know what song you guys are singing.
You belong to the night.
From the 1980s, man. You know
That
that
one.
song.
I slept.
Yeah, that one.
That's
you
my
know.
joint.
I slept through those. The Dynamo's dying
Oh God,
again.
he's gonna have a heart attack.
Jesus
That
Christ.
one song in the 80s,
You know.
the safety dance with the midget.
I just have to break up the review for 1 second. We had someone just joined the Trick or Treat radio group with the name Gene Siskel's Balding Head.
Oh shit!
All right.
That's one of my listeners.
Nice.
Is it? Nice.
Nice.
Well, we appreciate Gene Siskel's Balding Head.
Yes.
It'll add a lot of validity to our discussions.
Nice.
That's
Hey,
awesome.
see that Dynamo? You finally got more hair than somebody.
And guest 768 in the chat room said that we should podcast in cars and we can put him in the trunk.
According to Monster Zero, being,
Or
in,
her, I don't
being in a car for any length of time is the most arduous thing that you can possibly do if you're at Israel.
Hey, especially if it's if you're behind the driver's
Fucking
side.
s-
Of course, you wouldn't know anything about
Fucking
that.
Sid Haig is making fucking movies in Indonesia where rats are coming in and stealing puppies off the ledge, and like this guy's like being in a car. Fuck, get me much harder than that.
This is a challenging performance.
As MZ said, this is a ballsy movie. It takes huge fucking balls to make this, and for Tom Hardy to pick this role, you know, like this is a guy who's definitely on the upswing. He's had some huge roles, and he has some even bigger ones coming up. Like who knows, Mad Max could send him over the top.
That's what I like about him,
Yeah, but this is super ballsy because if this.
is that he was Bane and this guy.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I mean that
in
just
Inception.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
that
like-
just shows the range, and he's not afraid to push himself and to take new roles and to try new things. But this is ballsy. I mean, like this is the kind of movie you would see maybe like an unknown actor,
Yeah.
or someone like that.
It's not unlike his attitude. Kind of seems not unlike my early on. He does more for him now, but the earlier films of my future ex-husband, the
What?
Gauze, like he's pretty much really in that one for my money, one for my art,
Yep.
sort of direction right now.
Yeah,
Affleck was really good at that.
he was the bomb and Phantom.
He was the Bond Phantom.
So I was really astounded how much tension was created in this film from one dude in a fucking car,
Yeah.
Just even right at the very beginning, toward like within the first 10-15 minutes, like there's a bomb dropped.
Yeah.
And that first time he talks to not the first time, but when he talks to his wife about the thing where he's going to do, like that conversation was just like almost like heart-wrenching. Like, but the thing about it, like this dude he's a good man who fucked up in a major way.
Yeah.
But he's owning
he's
up to it.
He's a man who thinks he's a good man.
Right.
Well,
Yeah,
we
right.
can at least give him that.
Because
Well, I say
Well,
that he's a
forget
good
about
man because of his honesty and being upfront about
Yeah,
it.
but I don't know. He's more loyal to his job than he is to his family.
right,
But-
and forget
but
about
again-
his adultery. Like
Spoiler
to
alert.
to accommodate this thing where he feels like what set him on this trajectory. Like forget about the adultery end of it. He's
right.
potentially walking away from the family that he has now.
Yeah.
Which I mean, he's in a no-win situation, because he thought
Sure.
with the
And
wrong
he's
head, but
and he's more meticulous in making sure that the job that he's in charge of gets played out to its fullest potential. Meanwhile,
You can't
what
fault someone for doing
No.
that, though. I
You-
mean,
there are the two people who write the songs for the Deadites are like that's kind of our famous for that. Like that's the only fucking thing that we're good at. Like we're not real people.
Well, that was the thing. He can control that.
No offense, Tiny.
He can't control human emotion, but he controlled direction.
Right. Which
And I
is
think he was latching on to do what I say. This is the plan. We do it all the time. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Maneuver 47, fastball special. This is what we
You know,
fucking do.
Also, though, I feel like this is the first time that I feel like what was presented in his acting here or his role was this is the first time that he chose a direction and went directly for it, knowing that it was the right thing to do. I don't think this is a habit for this guy. I think this was him having a revelation and realizing that if he didn't do this, he was going to be that other person.
Yeah, because he
that
kept
he
on.
was-
Yeah, because he kept on saying, I did something that was totally unlike me, and
Right.
That
I
was
mean,
to his
to his
wife,
to his
you know?
wife. Yes.
Right. When he was setting it up, he's like, he's very calm. I think maybe Joe had mentioned this or someone previously. He's just very calm about it, and he's like, just want to say this happened one time. You know, like he just was, and then you could just tell the bomb was about to drop, and then like when that phone hung up, it was like that was like kind of heart wrenching. You could feel just with hanging up a phone, you could feel like the anguish and pain, like just from that moment.
like
And-
she got a shot in the throat. Like,
Yeah.
she couldn't talk anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So it just was. I was amazed at how much tension was created within the confines of a car.
Almost like mundane things, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
that happen in all those other stories.
Sure.
probably.
And there was, by my count, maybe I'm missing one, but there was basically 5 story threads going on here. I don't want to. I guess there's the one with the wife, the one with his kid,
The ghost.
the one with
The worker.
work. I guess there was a couple with work, but
With the cider.
I'll just call that one, and then one with the other woman.
Yeah.
And just the way that these story threads were, they weaved in and out was just masterfully done. It's like you didn't get too much of any one of them, and it just kept like coming back, and there was hardly any downtime. And when there was downtime, it was when he was talking to ghosts, so to speak. And it just was incredible how this was paced. Like, I'd love to see. Obviously, they filmed this in 8 days, but I'd be curious to see how long it took to write the script. I imagine it took a lot longer to write the script than it took to actually make the film, because it seems like a lot of the dialogue is very meticulously written. But I think the way it's weaved together is pretty masterful, and there's just a lot of interesting things going on with the storyline. But it's interesting because I guess there's a parallel here because. Maybe this is a little bit too obvious, but there's the journey. He's basically going on this big life journey while in a car taking a journey. So I just thought that there was a lot of interesting parallels, and especially with his job being like a concrete guy. Like he has a sort of concrete life, and as his life's falling apart, so is his job, and like all these other things. So. I just thought there was some really cool symbolism within a lot of the aspects of the script. There's a couple quotes I loved. He says, "I'll do what needs to be done, whether they love me or hate me." I thought that said a lot about who he is, or who he is now. From when this film is, takes place, and that Tiny, you called it out that there's a hilarious conversation with Donal when he goes to run to go talk to the guy, and he has to go run to him. Like, that was just hilarious. And you're right about picturing that. Like that's like an audiobook or reading a book. You're picturing exactly what's happening. So it's very effective to have that. And I could just see the guy like bent over, hands on his knees, like gasping for air after he had a couple ciders, and the guy's probably really out of shape and everything. So. And the other one was "Fuck Chicago." I thought that was a great quote.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, this was a fantastic film. I really, I'm kind of amazed that we all liked it so much, to be honest. But
It was good.
let's, I guess we'll make it official. Let's go ahead and do the verdict.
Trick or treat, baby.
I wonder if people would say you're a trick or a treat.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
All right, let's quickly go around. I think we've said quite a bit, so I don't know if there's anything else. But let's go around the room. Everyone give this a trick or a treat. And if you have any final thoughts about the film, go ahead. Dynamo.
This is a movie about a man who thinks he's a man who is willing to lose everything to do the right thing. But what this movie is really about is the story of a man who is turning his back on his life and paying for this one mistake. I agree with somebody said that he's not as good of a guy as he kind of thinks that he is. And a scene we talked about earlier kind of makes him realize that too.
Yeah.
And that's where this movie is great. A lot of these journey movies are about someone becoming a better person. What I think this movie is about is making a decision. And I think that what's cool about this movie is that sometimes you make a decision and it's the wrong decision. And sometimes the right decision for you is wrong for everyone else. And the element of this film that really spoke to me, because I've been there a million times, is you're in a position where you're going to hurt somebody one way or the other, and it's when they're the most open for you. It's when they're wearing the shirt, and she's trying to be part of his life in this, like, loving the sports and stuff like that, and like he really kicked her while she was down, and it just made it harder. I think that this is an incredible film. I think it's beautiful. I think it's amazing. It gets my highest recommendation, but Trick or Treat Radio heads, tread lightly, because this isn't normally the film, that type of, film we talk about and review. So, but
you have to remember, though, even though we do what we do and we're freaking idiots and we're assholes and we say ridiculous things that we maybe sometimes regret the next day, all of the listeners that we know personally are very, very open-minded, very intelligent people that have no business listening to this podcast.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I think every one of the people that we know personally that listens to this podcast would really dig on this
Rhymes
movie.
with ROM 3.
What?
Leaves voicemails occasionally.
Yeah, he's fucking crazy.
No, but I honestly, I think that the majority of our listeners would really dig on this. Not the like hardcore, like horror, like dudes, and gals, but I don't know. I think the average listener of this show that we interact with on a daily basis on the Fib or in real life, they're open-minded enough to dig on this.
Treat.
All right, Joe, why don't you go ahead and give your verdict?
This movie is an absolute treat. If you were like me going in, usually with these high concept movies, I go in with my arms folded and I'm like very cynical, like impress me. And this movie really does that in spades. I can't think of any other high concept movies that are this good. If anybody else could, I would love to hear them. But I mean, there are other good ones, but I mean, this is really one of the best ones in recent memory that I can think of.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that one that I mentioned earlier, Low, that may be worth a watch. They almost did it. It's very nice though. I recommend giving it a try. It's older. It's maybe early 2000s.
Okay.
But I hope I'm not remembering it incorrectly, but I remember it being done on a stage, and the scenes were basically done as stage play scenes. So it's just really really bold. Again, like real ballsy to try to pull it off in that way. Basically a play as a movie. Cool stuff though. And Dogville kind of falls into this category too, don't you think? A little bit. Have you guys seen that?
Is that the fun trailer?
I have not seen Dogville.
I think it was.
It's so
on
long,
trailer.
isn't it like insanely long?
It's freaking long, definitely. But at the end of it, I mean, again, it's first of all, it's very, very clever, visually, very clever, extremely clever, and that alone is worth watching it for. But the plot was. It wasn't anything like this. It was in a totally different emotional compartment from this, but it was bold in the same way. It was one story.
That's Kidman,
told,
right?
Yeah, it was Nicole Kidman. Yeah, it was one story told in a very interesting visually contextual way, and it kind of it more or less plays out like a stage play. But I thought it was freaking brilliant. I didn't like super duper like. I don't know how to describe it. I didn't love the movie, but I have a huge amount of respect for that movie and the fact that they were able to pull off what they were.
Let me just interject real quick, because guest 768 asks an interesting question and says, would it be any different if I were to just listen to the film than to see it visually? Like, I would love to go for a spin while listening to the movie instead of watching it. And honestly,
probably not.
Honestly, I think there's a lot to Tom Hardy's acting with facially and what's going on with him. So you'd certainly miss that. I think you'd still be able to enjoy it though.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so.
I'm tempted to experiment with that. I'm always on 1.5, 2 hour trips.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll try ripping the audio and doing that. I think having seen it before, it may alter the experience a little bit.
Yeah,
but,
you start to visualize the scenes in your head and everything.
I think so. But I wonder. I really, because it more or less plays out like an audiobook.
Yeah.
And you won't get him wiping his nose and stuff. But I think you'll get the context pretty quickly. I don't know, and the Foley and everything. I don't know if they interjected travel noise and car noise and stuff like that. So I don't know that you would get the context that it was in a car. But
the one thing I think is when he's talking, to his dad, I guess I'd say, whenever they show that, they film it in a different way. They show. He's basically looking to the rearview mirror. So not that makes a huge difference, but I mean that you'd lose a lot on that. I think on that scene. So on those scenes. So I think it would work, but just on a bit of a different level. And I don't know. There's a few. It definitely would be lacking Tom Hardy's acting.
it'd almost be like an abridged audiobook.
Yeah.
Where they expect you to kind of be in on the context. And they would just be saying the scenes instead of saying Locke said, so and so said, But yeah, I don't know. It may or it would. I think it would work, but I don't think it would be the same experience by a long shot.
Yeah. Do you guys like Lars von Trier?
I do.
He's different.
I think you gotta take him with a grain of salt sometimes. Yeah. I mean, the thing that I think I haven't seen a ton of his movies, but most recently, Melancholia is a freaking great movie.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
I saw Antichrist. I didn't like that at all.
Yeah, no? I did like it, but I'll tell you why a lot of light come in. I think that I have a conspiracy theory about him, in that I feel like he shows up with these kind of sparse but like very subversively metaphoric like screenplays and like imagery ideas. But he's really just trying to get beautifully exotic women like naked and in sexually suggestive positions.
It works. Yeah, it works.
Like I feel like that's the whole thing because like
well, Nymphomaniac Volume 1
right,
was
but
just,
now
like,
and that's my point. Now he's not
fucking guy.
Now he's not even fucking trying.
I haven't seen Volume 2 yet, man. I got it queued up. I want to see it so bad.
Well, I don't want to skip out on this conversation, but we're way over for this review, so I just want to get through. I just wanted to answer guest 768's question because I thought it was a good one. So let's, Joe, you gave your verdict, right?
Yep.
Yes, correct.
Okay, just wanted to make.
Treat.
Okay, Raven Shadow.
All right. I don't know. I think The Human Centipede might be a higher concept film.
What?
Because that's fucking
Human
like,
Centipede 2.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
it's
high
like
concept.
I think selling,
Yeah.
amazing up and coming actor Tom Hardy in a car against, ass to ass, mouth to mouth. That's fucking. But that's
The thing is though, probably
ass to
driving
mouth.
driving an hour and a half in a car is much worse than being ass to mouth. I think really.
If you ask Monster Zero,
right?
Well, it depends whose ass it is, I guess.
Sure.
Roadhog.
Can I be in front, please?
Go, Raven Shadow.
Treat.
All right, MZ verdict.
Yeah, great flick. I love the look of the film, the colors, and the acting was absolutely astounding and stellar. Yeah, Tom Hardy was just mesmerizing in this film, and I can't recommend it enough. Definitely a treat.
Tiny.
Yeah, highly impressive, especially because I didn't know much about it going in. I would say it took me maybe 35 minutes, and I literally, like, in my head said out loud to myself in my head, he's not getting out of this fucking car. He's going to be in this fucking car for the whole movie. Like, I'm really glad that I didn't know much about this going in. And there was even us talking relatively spoiler-free is already going to change the experience for anybody that's listening to this review, I think, to a pretty significant degree. There are a lot of kind of surprises in this movie, not the least of which is that he doesn't leave the fucking car. that will be sort of lost on folks that have listened to a review like this or have read some things about this movie. And I think it's it seems to be garnering significant critical acclaim, and the more attention something like that gets, the more people start reading about it and researching it. And I was just really glad to have gone into it sort of like sight unseen and just like taking it moment by moment, like not knowing if it was going to go a crazy direction, not realizing that he was not going to leave the car, and not realizing I wasn't going to see anybody else in this movie. But I mean, it was revelatory, like I couldn't believe what I was seeing after a while. Yeah. I kind of felt like I had to like buckle in at that 35-minute point where I realized this is going to be the movie.
You did that on purpose.
Right. But I've kind of had this experience before, having read, for example, that book Vox by Nicholson Baker. Like, it's a very, very intimate story that you're just that you're a voyeur of. You know what I mean? You're eavesdropping on it. That's it. You're just in the car, listening to something that you probably shouldn't be listening to. Is none of your business, But this is a treat. Definitely, this is an excellent movie. It's not as good as Blue Ruin, and I'm sure that Jay didn't phone in his explanation of why he thinks it is. But
I tried to.
I would love to take him to task on that, because
he's on the way.
He's on the way.
He's driving.
Yeah, if we can get, I contacted Jay and wasn't. He's a busy dude, so. I'm sure he just would have loved to, but didn't have time. But this did stem from when we had Jay on several episodes ago, and was it the Blue Ruin one, or it was the one he was in studio for, I believe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it was a while back, but Jay had actually said this was his favorite film of the year.
Yeah.
And so we're like, all right, well, we got to watch it if Jay likes it, Professor Jay, right. And also on the Fib, Ebb. Was repping it pretty hard as well, so I figured that we needed to do this, and for me also it's a treat. This is a tour de force acting performance by Tom Hardy, great writing, like great direction. This I kind of wish I'd known going in that I wish I didn't know, like, or hear anything about it. I avoided trailers, but I knew that he stayed in the car the whole time. Because I think Jay had mentioned that. I kind of wish I hadn't known that, because then I would have been waiting for it and anticipating it, But
yeah.
So I apologize for anyone out there who hears the review that goes in knowing that, but it's going to be hard to avoid.
It's not really a huge spoiler.
No,
but yeah,
it's not a spoiler at all. But I think it might be more interesting if you don't know that.
Yeah.
But
and I wonder how much of the success of this movie was just kind of confluence of events too, because without his cold, there's a whole aspect of the movie kind of missing, you know what I mean, like a visual aspect. Otherwise, what have you been doing? Just kind of sitting there, you know what I mean, just driving. But you have at least, I don't know how to describe it, but you have like a couple these little breakaways where he's blowing his nose and stuff like that. As stupid as that sounds, or as stupid as it seems, it somehow it almost puts punctuation on the sentences that are these different scenes. I don't know how to describe it, but it's it creates some sort of, I don't know, some sort of dynamic to the interior of the car that may not have existed otherwise.
Yeah. And I think I just love that there are films like this being made, because we get a lot of the old Hollywood fare. We see like the same sort of. It's like a pop song, right? You get like the same format, the same template is being used.
Yeah.
But it's really refreshing, I think, to see a film like this get made. And we've talked about a few other films in the last few weeks. Like Blue Ruin was another one that is really refreshing to see a film like that get made. And even like last week when we reviewed Willow Creek, I've seen a lot of people have been shitting on other boards, but I think it's interesting to see someone make a film like that, because it's not expected. And I think this is case in point. Like it's pretty awesome to see that this film actually exists and it's out there. And we don't need to get back into the Bigfoot thing. That was last week.
That's big. That's Bigfoot for thank you.
Okay. So all right, well, that's going to wrap up our review of Locke. We went way over with that, but it's a good film, and I think it warranted discussion. So. So for next week, let me pull up the list of films. Next week, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tell you what we're going to review for the next several weeks.
They call us problem child.
But next week we're going to review the latest film from Jim Jarmusch. We're going to review Only Lovers Left Alive. Stars Tilda Swinton and Tom Hiddleston, your boy Loki.
Oh, word?
Yeah.
Word to Snurb.
And they're I don't know how much I don't want to give too much away, but they're vampires.
Do they get out of the car?
Yes.
Could Tilda Swinton make my top 10 twice?
Maybe. So we're going to check out Only Lovers Left Alive for next week. And then in October, we're doing all horror. So
Nice.
and we're going to actually, of course, it's October, so we got to.
Should do rom-coms.
Zomcoms.
Zomcoms.
Rom the Space Knight comms?
We're going to start off October with something kind of light.
Romacom.
I saw that there is a new film starring Franco Nero, and I had to watch it, and it's called Killer Mermaid. How can we not review a film called Killer Mermaid with Franco Nero?
Sounds familiar.
No,
Yeah.
see,
sounds
you
familiar.
have to say that whole thing, because if you showed up here and said we're reviewing Killer Mermaid next week,
Yeah.
after Leprechaun Origins, I would reach over the table and punch you. But
The
because
only
we're
reason-
reviewing, like this came up in a conversation last night where he just texted. We talked about what movies we're going to review, and I got a text that said Franco Nero's Killer Mermaid, and then he started talking about something else, and I was like, wait, I beg your pardon, like Franco, aka Jesus, Django Nero,
Yes.
like.
This is
Killer
our
Mermaid?
This is our second. This is the second movie that we are going to review with the word mermaid in it.
That's
My
true.
Zombie.
Oh My Zombie.
Yeah.
Mermaid.
Yep.
Maybe Hashimoto's in this.
He's so cute.
He is adorable.
Well, he is dead now. So
Shit.
So we're going to kick off October with that, something kind of light. And what I would like to do, I'm not sure when these other films are going to fall, but there's some other films that are being released theatrically that I want to check out. There's first of all Tusk, from Kevin Smith, that's coming out in theaters tomorrow. Actually, it's being released tomorrow evening.
See.
So
House
and
of Horror's doing
yeah,
that
and
next week.
Yeah, Joe and the guys at House of Horror are going to review that on your next episode, right, Joe?
Correct. Friday night.
Awesome. So what you can do is you can go check out the House of Horror review and then check out our review when we get it. I'm not sure when. It may be October 1st, maybe next week if we can catch it.
Yeah, just based on the trailer, I think Tom's review, that's going to be a lively one.
So that should be. So that'll be coming up the first week in October. Second week in October, we're going to review the ABCs of Death 2.
Nice.
So
Are you guys not reviewing Annabelle?
we typically don't do too much in the way of theatrical releases unless it's something we really are super excited to see.
We usually kind of like I'll usually do like a mini review.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of my job.
Oh, okay.
So
you guys just aren't interested in it as a whole, or
I'm kind of I didn't want to back myself into seeing it because I'm not sure.
right?
I'm sort of interested, but it's for the five of us. Typically, it's hard for us to get out and schedule to see a film unless it's like a big event type thing.
How
so
can you go to the movies if you're buying $300 Transformers?
exactly, or $5 million synths,
Right.
Yeah.
Or $122 Halloween box sets.
Yes.
Or a pack of smokes a day.
So typically we'll go hit some of the big event type films, like, and even then we typically don't do a full review. We'll just do like a sort of a quick discussion about it. But I would like to have a discussion about Tusk. The other one I would like to discuss is The Guest.
Yeah, I can't wait.
From Simon Barrett and Adam Wingard, which is I'm getting conflicting reports, but supposedly that's coming out tomorrow.
Well, it's coming out. I think it's got like a limited release.
Limited release tomorrow, I think.
I think on the 19th, and then it comes out for real. Or maybe it comes out for real on the 19th.
Yeah,
that's Friday.
It all depends on when it's going to be playing in our neck of the woods. So that's another one. But so second week, ABCs of Death 2, and then the third week in October, we're going to do Dead Snow 2.
Oh,
all right.
Which I'm super excited for because Dead Snow 1 was fucking incredible, and this one's supposedly better than the first one.
It's long.
Damn.
From all the
Quite
things
a-
that I've read,
quite a
yeah,
claim.
that is. And then the fourth week in October, we're going to review See No Evil 2 from the Sosko twins.
Cool.
Nice.
All right.
And to round out the month, we're going to review VHS Viral, the latest installment of the VHS series.
All right.
And also, if we can,
Well, did you? It's VHS is right in the title.
No, I thought we were gonna do ABC to Death again, but I got them confused. I thought like we already reviewed that one. Like, no, this is a different one. Let's go to commercial, Johnny.
And the other one, we may not. I don't know. I think it's getting released on Halloween, so we may have to do it for the first week in November. But another theatrical release film that we are going to check out is Horns, from the story based on Joe Hill's story.
Are you guys excited about that? It looks like shit.
The trailer is really bad, but
Yeah. It's bad.
I am excited about it because of some of the stuff I've heard, not anything I've seen.
Yeah. So just to recap,
If you guys are gonna are gonna do the guest, I would love to come back on and talk about the guest because we're not covering it on our show because Tom's not interested.
Cool. I'll drop you a line for sure.
Yeah. Let me know. I would love to come on. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, we'll find out when, because I keep seeing conflicting reports about when it's actually getting a release around here. So we'll check that out, and then when we can schedule something, we'll definitely I'm looking forward to that one. It's getting great reviews as well. So just to rehash, Only Lovers Left Alive next week. Next week, and then the first week of October, Killer Mermaid, ABCs of Death 2, Dead Snow 2, See No Evil 2, VHS Virus.
Oh, loaded with sequels. Here.
Yes, loaded with sequels, except for Killer Mermaid. So, and then we should have November planned out soon.
Yeah, I mean, because there's 2 movies. I mean, the rolling around in there is also The House That Dreaded Sundown. The Town That Dreaded Sundown.
Yeah, can't wait for that.
Yeah, I don't know.
That looks. The trailer looks amazing.
It exists.
It comes out October 16th on VOD, I believe it is. Right. So that's in October.
Is that official? I felt like I heard that, but then the trailer just said the 16th. Where are you hearing that information?
Let me pull it up. I still have the window open, I think.
This is a good site for releases, I find.
Yeah, I've been using this. This site's pretty awesome. I just found them, the horrorclub.blogspot.com. They have a lot of awesome information about releases on there, and let me see. Yeah, I don't have the right page right in front of me, but I'll look it up as we go along and let you know. But they had a list of all the films coming out on VOD for the rest of the year, I believe. So, and there was some good stuff in there. So I'll pull that up and we'll go over that. So that's what's coming up for the next several weeks. Only Lovers Left Alive is next week. That's available on VOD. So if you want to go check that out, I think it's probably available on Amazon and all the other
we have
places.
Borgman rattling around too.
Yeah, Borgman is another one I want to do, but I didn't know.
It's not Borgman. It's not the sequel to Man-Borg.
Yeah. We do have that.
Man-Borg.
I have seen that, by the way.
Really?
Oh, you did watch it?
It's probably worth a watch. I think it would be an interesting conversation.
Man-Borg.
I also want to see the Babadook.
Oh yeah, that's on our November list.
Wait, the Marmaduke movie?
Good.
Yeah.
Marmaduke. It's about a giant orange dog.
Babadook
That's
is...
you get Clifford and
And he's not fucking orange, he's red, dude.
The Babadook Saints.
It's not Clifford.
Right, but Clifford's the big red dog.
Yeah.
Babadook is gray.
Babadook is coming out November 28th.
Yes, he is.
November 28th is what I'm trying to say.
That movie's not a thing.
Yeah, it is. Check it out.
You colorblind asshole.
All right, we need to go to a break. This segment has gone on way too long. We probably lost a lot.
The
of people.
Muse. That's my whole conversation for the next
So we're gonna have to be quick on the next conversation, but we'll be right back to talk about the bands and artists we'd love to see score a film.
We interrupt our program with a special bulletin.
Okay, here we go. This is it. Greetings and salutations.
I'm Josh Gravel.
And I'm Scott LaFave.
Oh, good for you.
We want to let you know about the Arkham Film Society.
We're a small group of cinephiles programming classic, horror, cult, and exploitation film events in the Providence, Rhode Island area.
We have such sights to show you.
We try to meet a need for unconventional programming by providing affordable film events through our monthly screening series.
Be one of us.
Find us on Facebook and join our group by searching for the Arkham Film Society at facebook.com/Arkham Screening.
Check out our blog at arkhamfilmsociety.blogspot.com.
And stop by our Etsy and buy stuff at etsy.com/people/Arkham Screening.
Yes, sir! You, sir! All right already, I'm hip!
We now return control of your television set to you.
Hello, it's me, Jason Voorhees.
Hi, Jason.
Is 2 million movies streaming not enough?
I'm sick of over the top.
Are your wrists and hands tired from flogging your own dead member over teenagers being fresh down by the lake? Have you run out of people dumb enough to wander into your territory?
What? Wait.
Are you just out of cool weapons to use?
Weapons?
Well, the Deadites have something for you to do.
Oh, no, not
Go to our YouTube channel, The Deadites TV. Search us on YouTube. You'll see the CryptoCast, music videos, and all sorts of other good business. The Deadites TV. It's on YouTube. Subscribe.
How much?
Right now, we're slashing the price for subscriptions.
Oh, yeah?
It's absolutely free.
Holy shit, I love fruit.
So go. Deadites.
I like them.
Videos.
I like videos.
That equals sexy ladies, music, monsters, and dancing. The Deadites TV on YouTube. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe.
That's right, boys and girls. If you don't believe old Jason, listen to what your friend Old Dynamo says and check out The Deadites TV, all one word, on YouTube. That's The Deadites TV on YouTube.
All right, we're back on Trick or Treat Radio after that quick break. Now we're going to talk about the bands or artists we would like to see score a film. Now, this will have to be a little bit abbreviated than what we had originally probably wanted it to be, but...
That said, anyone who feels gypped can hear Johnny and I, anyway, talking about it quite a bit back on episode of OTC from last summer. I'll post the link up on the Fib. And
oh, yeah. I knew I prepared something for it. I couldn't remember if it was for what episode it was, but that's because it wasn't our show.
yeah, so we talked with our brothers from another mother, there's Bill and Chris. And someone just shot Joe with a dot. And he fell off his chair. So we'll miss him. We like him. More time for OTC, I guess.
Yeah. Joe, what film was I going to look up? Was it
Town
was
That
it
Dreaded
Babadook or Town That Dreaded Sundown?
The town that dreaded sundown.
Okay, so apparently October 16th is when it's hitting VOD, according to the Horror Club.
Right, I'm actually looking at the site. Thank you for it. This is an amazing little site here.
Sure, here I found it last night and was like, because I try to comb all these different sites for VOD releases and everything, and they just have like I just love the way they do it. It's really tidy and they just have a really nice site. So hopefully I can get in touch with them. I'd love to try to push the site, see if they want to come on and do some stuff. But yeah, it's a really good site. It's thehorrorclub.blogspot.com. They get some great information about VOD releases, theatrical releases, and they even have some really good reviews. So go check them out.
I'm seeing right here that movie 7500. I don't know if you guys remember. That was shelved like 2 years ago. It's coming out on video on demand October 3rd. That's crazy. That was the guy.
Yeah.
That was it was like Scout Taylor Compton, Turtle from Entourage on a plane, and I think it was Ghost. They released a trailer.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's from the director of The Grudge, and I see it here. It's October 3rd, going to VOD.
Yeah, I think I do remember Takashi Shimizu was the director of that film.
I remember seeing it in the theater.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like shit, but then they just shelved it for 2 years, I think, and now I guess apparently it's coming on VOD.
Well, there you go. Thanks to our friends at the Horror Club. Cool. So let's jump into this. Dynamo, do you want to set it up a little bit and tell folks what they can expect from this?
So this is an interesting topic because there are some easy ones. Like if you go through, I'm not going to be able to say his name, but Death Rattler showed him to us, Wolfie.
Perturbator.
Perturbator or Kavinsky or Laserhawk, who some of my favorite shit right now. That's what they do, right? Power Glove, the 2 words.
Power Glove, yeah. Two words.
That's what those guys do. They make movie scores, maybe sometimes for films that didn't happen. What's really interesting to me is that the bands that are a little more subversive about it. In the first time I had this conversation, the very obvious choice for me was the Muse, because you have songs like Knights of Sidonia and Hysteria that have their cover House of the Rising Sun that have very cinematic film score elements to them, but that's not kind of like what they're known for, but especially the spaghetti western tropes in Knights of Sidonia, that's what it is. You might not know that that's what it is, but that's what's going on. And I think that there are a lot of great bands out there that you wouldn't think would make great film scores. If you had told me Mike Patton would be one of the go-to guys for action and indie cinema in 2011 to 2014, I would have told you were crazy because he's a nut and does some really wild stuff. But the film industry have embraced that. So what we're looking for here in this conversation is kind of like maybe bands you hadn't thought of that would be good, or bands that would bring something different to a particular genre of film.
Yeah, and we don't necessarily have to pick the type of film, but if you have in mind what kind of film they would score, like that's cool. So what we'll do is we'll have to go around. We'll have to do this pretty quickly, I guess, and just have everyone throw out a couple, and then maybe we'll try to discuss which ones we think would actually do the best job. You want to kick us off, Dynamo?
No.
No?
But
Okay.
because people have already heard me talk about it for 2.5
right.
hours at one time. So, I would like to hear what maybe Michael Ravenballs here thinks, or our guest, or our guest.
All right. Michael Ravenball. I mean, Raven Shadow.
Yeah, I can go. And to be honest, I don't really know a lot about scoring. But
that was a good.
No,
you
no.
planned that one. It was good though. It was
one.
good. Yeah.
No, but
It shows you trying.
Yeah,
Very
Pre-planned
good.
ad libs.
I'm fucking trying. Yeah, all my improv is pre-planned. No, but like talking about stuff like about Del the Funky Homo Sapien and Dan the Automata, based on Deltron 3030 record, which I think is definitely a rock opera.
That's a really good one, actually.
Yeah, it's a great one.
Into itself. What if those guys did like an animated or live action Transmetropolitan movie?
Sure.
Some of that
I can dig on that.
weird like sci-fi, craziness. If you heard that record, I mean that our old buddy JT and I have scripted that movie, Deltron 3030, the scenes in our head. So I think that could be kind of an interesting take.
You and Justin Timberlake are friends?
Yes, me. Yeah, me and Timberlake. We had a running total of how many girls we banged, and last time I checked, I was way ahead. Moving on. What about Dr. Dre and Rick Rubin working together on a almost timeless Power Man and Iron Fist movie? Like a little set in the 70s, 80s, maybe have cell phones.
That would be timed, though, right?
Well, no, but you have that vibe, but you know what I mean? Some of that 70s funk,
Yeah, that's the opposite of timeless.
Okay. Set in a magical time called the 70s.
Right, that's better.
Be better, with the beats by Dre, so I guess it'd be 90s.
Yeah, they didn't have beats like that in the 70s.
They should have. We go back in time. And finally, their name is on the door. They will be playing, not this door. The name's on this podcast. They will be headlining November 1st at the Lucky Dog Music Hall.
You fucker.
Hall. But what if for a minute the Deadites, Tiny White, the synth sensation, scoring a movie script that is already written by somebody we know.
Oh?
Oh, yeah.
A little joint written by Bobby Chains. called Smitten for realsies. It's a horror movie, very easily doable, about an obsessed movie fan. Weirdness ensues. When I read Bobby Chain's script for Smitten, all I kept telling him was that the Deadites are all over this. Flash forward.
Who's going to direct it?
I'll do it.
Yeah, because you're so technically sound.
You
right?
can't. You can't share a picture on your iPhone, but you're going to direct a film.
I can tell you to do it. I'm directing. Dynamo. Post a picture of me smoking that butt. It's really fucking cool.
Joe, for months we were mad at Raven Shadow because he wasn't posting, like, promoting the show at all, and he swore he was. So I grabbed his phone away from him, and his settings for his status updates were sent to go only to him.
Yeah, I mean, Terry Francona can't throw a curveball, but he tells Wakefield to do it.
I'd like to see Raven Shadow direct a movie. I think, you're scared or whatever the fuck.
Just Bombaleo.
Yeah. You see the killer and you just scream, "Oh, Bombaleo!" Then you turn heel and run the hell out of there.
One time.
Yeah.
It would be like Bobcat Goldthwait directing in the voice of Zed.
Pretend, it's. I want you to really get into the mood here. It's like your Nana's vibrator.
And so instead of the Babadook, it would be the Bombaleo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doll's coming at you. You're fucking scared, right? It's a fucking doll.
He's coming after you with a knife. He's only 2 feet tall.
I want you to be wicked scared, hey, okay?
This is
Mr.
gonna
Raven Shadow. I don't understand my motivation. Whatever.
You know what? This isn't going to be like those other fucking Bigfoots. So I'm going to get a guy in a fucking suit. It's going to get my friends down at the Real Yard, Jimmy Mamaluke and Tony Rositas, to come in fucking dress as fucking Bigfoots.
It's a great fucking cast. Got Louis the Mallet, Frankie the Spatula. It'd be fucking brilliant.
It's going to be fucking scary.
Tony the Fish.
Yeah, everybody.
I'd like to see that. I don't want to see the movie. I want to see the documentary of them making
Of you
the
directing
movie.
it.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. But no, I think the Deadites, really could lend the talents to directing, and there's a script in the works. So Bobby Chains, you're in the back.
Yeah,
reach out to us.
I think
I'm gonna start hacking at that. It's part of my grand scheme here is to start doing some soundtrack work.
Yeah. How about you start fucking hacking at that record that you're in charge of putting
I still can't figure out
out?
how to make any noises on these. I know that they make sounds because I've seen videos and stuff.
My life sucks. Can I be on your podcast, Joe? You want to start a band? My life is terrible.
I got the power cable.
I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Great.
Joe doesn't want you on his show. You're stuck with us.
Nobody wants me.
That's a no.
We
Call
don't.
me, I'll call you.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think it was a pretty good Raven Shadow.
Yeah.
For the Power Man and Iron Fist, I might go for something like the RZA or Jizza.
Well, because they've already done that. So I was thinking like
You're right. You're
like
right. Okay.
Ghost Dog.
This is
you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
So like I figured like blend in some Dre and some Rick Rubin. They could maybe make some magic.
All right. You can dig it. Tiny, do you have anything to contribute to this?
I have a couple I'll poke at. I think my main problem when I was doing this research is I look back and a lot of the stuff that I like is soundtrack music. You know what I mean? It's like when I think of somebody doing a soundtrack, they've already freaking done it. You know what I mean? Whether it's Wendy Carlos or Ennio Morricone or anything like that's a lot of stuff that I just straight up listen to. So when I am going through my bands, it's very difficult for me to try to find some that haven't already done one. There are a couple that have shown up on movie scores that haven't actually movie soundtracks that haven't actually scored a movie yet that I think could do a pretty killer job, like Underworld, for example. Pretty much anything any action stuff that we watch nowadays, Underworld kind of has their hand in that sort of flavor of like high intensity, like very driving sort of stuff.
It's like when they pulled back from the totally inappropriately over the top stuff of like Chemical Brothers. Like Underworld is kind of like the spot on the chessboard they landed.
Yeah, kind of like that. Exactly. Like it still drives, but it's a different.
It's more
not so-
textual.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. there are a couple. Jean-Michel Jarre comes to mind. He's sort of more ambient and abstract stuff. I don't know what I would have him score, but he seems like.
I think he did score Tiny.
I looked around for it, and it looks like he scored some documentaries and stuff.
Okay.
But nothing that would be a real highlight of the music that he's done.
Okay, yeah.
Team him up with Jodorowsky, though.
Something like that. That'd be awesome. Definitely something like that. Kraftwerk was my first pick, but looking back, I think they actually kind of like retrospectively scored Metropolis and a couple other things. So I don't know if they really count. Do you guys know Jose Gonzalez?
Yeah, he does my lawn.
You fucking asshole!
Oh my god!
Oh
my god!
Sorry, Joe.
Remember, children. You couldn't have put that like he's like the Red Sox reliever in '94 or anything.
No, he does my lawn. He's
Like-
a fucking gardener.
You fucking
Oh my
asshole.
God.
We went a whole
Jesus.
show almost being a real life podcast.
Unfucking believable.
Jesus Christ!
Remember, children.
That's his day job, but he also does music.
Yeah.
Senor Raven Shadow, is this good for you, sir?
Shut up! So Senor Isaac's gonna be pissed. Shut up!
Shut up!
Oh boy!
Now we're banned in Mexico. Thanks.
Oh my god!
They don't have internet in Mexico.
Hey.
We're huge. This podcast is huge. It was huge in Mexico.
Right.
It was until this episode.
Yep, no longer. But yeah, Jose Gonzalez. He does like real. He does folk. He's a folk. I would guess I would call him a folk artist, but his stuff is real ambient.
He's a folk legend now.
His guitar work is second only to his hedge work.
There you go, Tiny. Take it back.
Fucker. I'm so let down right now.
Don't get me. Don't fucking drag me down like this. Don't do that.
Senor Raven
gonna start
Shadow, do you like the way I cut this hedge?
That's all right.
So Joe, we're trying to put get a new CD recorded. Like we're like kind of like we got a great producer. Like we're just trying to get time, and we're also booking our annual like Halloween show. So I like broke into some project management software, and like I was gonna do it for Trick or Treat Radio as well, but like it just was like I was writing things like "Don't be racist,"
Right.
don't
Agenda items. Yeah.
don't talk about rape. Like it's like like I realized, and at which point I realized it wasn't gonna help.
Yeah, no, it invariably goes there. It goes there. But anyway, he's a folk musician, but and he's just guitar and voice basically. But I think if he did basically guitar and like ambient guitar and percussion and actually scored something, it would be pretty amazing. He's responsible for a piece of the music in Red Dead Redemption, like a real. Are you guys serious right now?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is someone tickling him right now? Like,
Senor Raven Shadow, can I go on break?
Come back 40. It's not done yet. I'm gonna have this water.
no, oh my god!
Listen,
unbelievable.
being dumb isn't racist, but racist is dumb. Think about it.
And now you know.
And now he's have the bell.
The more you know.
Right.
Kick
Sorry,
your
Joe.
legs back and forth like a scissors.
So anyway, yeah, I think he'd do a pretty good job on something like maybe Blue Ruin or something like that.
Good one.
The same sort of wheelhouse as what is that guy's name? Roy? Now shit, I can't remember it. Fucking he did The Unforgiven, I think. Shit, I'm not going to digress. Hold on. But anyway, just it's basically ambient folk work, and even he could probably throw in some lyrics in there too. Let me see soundtrack here. Shit. I can't find it. Anyway, so. Where are we going right now?
Nowhere.
Downhill and over a cliff,
Yeah.
Tiny.
We went far enough.
Yeah.
All right. I'll tag in Johnny. What do you got?
All right. I actually just looked up the list that we did for when we did. We actually did something very similar on OTC when we did a guest appearance last year. But I'm not gonna use any of those. I made a list of like 10 different bands. One, I will say this isn't my pick, but our boy Psycho Patrick picked the Secret Chiefs 3.
Good choice.
He's a big fan of theirs. I actually I like them a lot as well, and they opened up for Goblin when we went to go see Goblin last year. One of their albums is like a score for a fake movie, so
yeah,
they could totally pull it off. So I just wanted to get that out there for Psycho. One of my favorite musicians is Devin Townsend, and I think his range is ridiculous. Over the course of his last like 5 or 6 albums,
He could score anything.
yeah, he's gone from like the most aggressive metal you can imagine to one of the most like quiet and sweet like acoustic albums I've ever heard. So just the range is crazy. I don't know what kind of movie he would do. I didn't really think that far into it, but something that has like a wide range of emotion, I think he could totally pull off. Let's see. I'm going to pick. I'm not going to go with all of them. Just want to pick a few. I think he actually this is cheating a little bit because he has scored a film, but this is for Kevin Moore, who is the original keyboard player for Dream Theater.
Yeah.
Now has his own project called Chroma Key, and he scored
which is fucking phenomenal if
Yeah.
anybody is looking for some new music. Tiny,
Yeah.
I really think you would love Chroma Key.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, check it out. I got all the stuff. if
Kind
you
of sounds
can't
like
find it.
old, like Gabriel era Genesis.
Yeah, I like that. All right, that's fine.
But he did a score for a Turkish film, and the score is great. I have it. I haven't seen the film though. So
is it Turkish Rambo?
No, it's not. It's
oh man,
Turkish Terminator.
The score is called Shine. That's not the name of the movie. He just
is
released.
Is it Three Devedam?
No, it's not.
that was Turkish, right?
Yes, it was.
Very
But I would love to see him score, a film that has a wider release. So I guess that's cheating a little bit because he has done one score. But I'd love to see him do something a little bit different. He actually did take like an old public domain film and made a score for it and turned it into an album. Graveyard Mountain Home was the name of that one. So that's sort of a score, but
sort of, yeah.
So I'll go with that as my second one. Man, I'm just going to go with one more probably, and this is tough. I have a bunch here. But you know what? I'm going to go with Cell Dweller because the funny thing is his music has been heard probably in more movies over the last 10 years than any other artist. His first album was every single track on his first album was licensed for film or video games. And I think he's, as of at least a year or two ago when I was researching this, he's only one of 3 artists to ever have that done. I think the other one was the Chemical Brothers and maybe Crystal Method, I think was the other one.
Yeah, probably.
But every single song on his debut album was licensed. So, and you hear him in TV shows, like if you guys ever watch Face Off, some of his music is heard in Face Off, and this is music he's written for his albums. He's never, to my knowledge, has never scored a film, and he has actually released albums that are just like little snippets of ideas that it's called the soundtrack to The Voices in My Head, I think is right. Yeah. And it's really like just some really amazing music, and it really runs the gamut of emotion. So I think he could absolutely score a film. It'd have to be something like high pace, kind of energy, action film, perhaps. But I think he would be my third pick for an artist to score a film. I have a bunch of others here, but those are the 3 I'll stick with. So I'll tag out to. I don't know if you've had time to think about this, Joe. I know we're kind of springing it on you, but if you have anything to add, feel free.
Well, I am very upset about this because you guys posted the poll, and I tried to vote, and I have no fucking clue how to because for some reason I can't click on the goddamn thing. I'm talking about hours ago.
Yeah.
I wanted to do remakes, but
I'm with you.
We actually rigged the poll where only we could vote.
Right, that makes sense now. Okay, so I really only have two, and someone said it earlier. Usually when you're like, oh, that band or that musician, and then you go through IMDb, it's like, oh, they already did something.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
My first thought, a lot of their music is played in movies already, but to score it might be interesting is AC/DC.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be a good place.
It said on IMDb they did Maximum Overdrive.
They did.
That's the only thing I saw.
But it was just a collection of almost like a greatest hits. Like Stephen King took all of his favorite AC/DC
Pretty much, yeah.
songs.
Yeah, because they didn't write any original songs, did they?
No, I think there was one. I think there was like an ending credit outro instrumental.
Okay, maybe, but most of the songs were actually songs they released. So yeah,
it was stuff off Back in Black and Power Rage, like two different singers.
Yeah, that doesn't count. That's just soundtrack. That's
right.
not score.
That's different. It's like saying the Psychedelic Furs and disqualifying them.
Yeah. Yep.
And the only other one I thought of, and this is a tricky one because he's also a filmmaker, is Rob Zombie. Johnny Five is actually, I guess, one of his guitarists, and he actually just scored Lords of Salem, his last film.
Is that what that robot's doing now? Wow. Good too.
It might be cool to just hear Rob Zombie try to come up with some things because he has a very interesting sound, and then his movies are awesome as well.
It's something he's not that
maybe
he didn't
something
direct
elsewhere
either.
from his movies, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he could somehow make something that sounds like Devil's Rejects looks, that would be very interesting to listen to.
Yeah.
Right, like because he's a filmmaker, I think that would be the most interesting if it was on someone else's work.
Yeah.
frankly, I'm a little surprised he hasn't scored a whole film.
Yeah.
Like you have people like he looks up to like John Carpenter, and even like Robert Rodriguez has scored most of his own films.
If you listen to Zombie talk, right? I just listened to the Assault on Precinct 13 commentary the other day. Like, if it came out tomorrow that Rob Zombie was John Carpenter's kid, I would not be in the least bit surprised. Like, there's so many like, not cinematically, but like in their way that they handle like interviewers and like in their vocal like. In like kind of their vocal cadence and like they're very animated like showmanship, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it. It obviously comes out more than in Zombie, but like when you hear Carpenter talk at something, like you can tell that he's kind of like hamming it up. Like if you told me that like that was his kid, I would not be in the least bit surprised. Like there's something there. The way they cross their legs. I've thought about this.
The way they open their legs.
Yeah, I think that would be cool, though. I mean, I would certainly like to hear him score one of his own films. It'd be interesting.
I would like to see him do somebody else's. That's kind of what I'm like.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see him direct something he didn't write, and I want to see him score something he didn't write, and I just want to see him get out there and get his hands dirty a little bit. Like, nobody would ever call Rob Zombie safe. In fact, my favorite thing about him is I always think I know what I'm getting going into a zombie film, but never get quite that. Like I think he's a great filmmaker, and I get shit on a lot for that, but I really love him. And but I want to see him get out of his safe zone a little, you know?
Mm-hmm. Like do a hockey film?
Yeah, that would have been so fucking great.
I gotta be honest though, Rob, to be completely bold for a second, Rob Zombie's my favorite horror filmmaker of all time.
Really?
Wow. I'm with. That's great.
And he when he was gonna go off and do that hockey movie, I was like, I want more. He really is so good at horror, and any other director I can kind of be like, yeah, sure. He's just so good at it, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with his latest project that he's trying to get funded.
31.
Yeah, 31. It just sounds incredible. I was just so happy when the hockey movie didn't happen.
I think Mike is smitten right now.
Yeah, I'm so with you because
I can't even. He's swallowing his mic. So.
Like I'll put like a Rob Zombie thing on the Fib, and people are like, "Fuck you, mods, and you Rob Zombie."
I don't know. I love him, and so does Tom. So our show is very Rob Zombie-esque.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I love his wife
too. Everyone who hates him, fuck off.
Yeah.
I think for the most part, I think we all appreciate the bulk of his work. I'd say Halloween 2 is the exception. But
Yeah, I don't think I'm
very
Halloween 2.
strong exception. Halloween 2 is just terrible.
But I've only ever seen it that night, and I found myself defending it because someone else here was saying crazy fucking shit that will remain nameless right now.
Me.
But his name.
He likes it because I hated it.
No, I didn't say, even that night I didn't say I liked it, but like you just, sometimes I find myself defending stuff because you say crazy things that.
Saying that Halloween 2 sucks is not a crazy thing. Get a hold of yourself,
That's
man.
not what you were saying, though.
All right, we're gonna wrap up this segment. So
Hey, I got a good one real quick. And I'm
I was gonna let MZ go and then you last.
okay, sure.
Okay.
You sound like Buffalo Bill.
Well.
This is the Buffalo Bill Cavalcade. We're gonna play our song called "Are You a Size 33?"
Well, I'm gonna start off by picking up a couple of. I'm gonna start off with a couple of classic bands that I think would be great in scoring horror. As far as I know, I don't think they have. The Doors. I think they got a real
one big problem there, buddy.
What?
Jim Morrison is not really around.
Oh, you're talking about. You're saying about.
Oh,
who
you're
we
talking
would
about
like.
that Doors.
No, we're talking.
I have to make music. This You know is what- news to me. You know, Beethoven really be hot in some new tracks.
All right, well, no.
Yeah, you didn't say alive or dead.
It's
you
true.
just said
It's
who.
true. It's true.
I mean, it's wishful thinking. This whole list, isn't it?
Yes.
Is your next pick Nirvana? Because they're the only band I hate more than the fucking Doors.
And my next pick is Nirvana. I would say the Doors because they got this like gothic quality that I think would work.
Definitely, no, it's a good choice.
Would
They're
work
just-
well in films like.
People have died. That's all.
Well, a lot of their music. Well, maybe not a lot, but like I guess think back to like People Are Strange. I mean, how many times has that been used? You know,
right?
That's
except by Eddie Furlong.
Yeah, not his version. Not his version. No.
It's scary how fat he got before he
Yeah.
died.
Strange.
When you're a stranger.
Oh yeah, look at my yeah.
Pull that up. Pull that up. Wolfie, pull that up.
Oh my God.
Faces look ugly when you're alone.
There's like Casio accompaniment. Oh,
Yeah,
my
it's bad.
God.
It's like Wesley Willis. Women,
Oh, exponentially worse.
But
you belong to the city.
But I think it has a gothic quality that would work well in like say like a Carnival of Souls, a recent retelling of Carnival of Souls,
Sure.
a
Yeah,
film
why
like that.
What about a Doors cover band? Would that be all right?
Unless it's headed by Eddie Furlong, sure.
All right, hold on. Crank that shit up. Let's hear that.
Listen to that sax, man.
It's like a sax sample.
Shh. Quiet. Let's hear it. Fucking outcast.
All right.
I just feel like you had to be like, you're gonna be able to fix this in post, right?
Yeah. You could just imagine like the producers behind the glass, just nodding their head, saying, "Yeah, this sounds good, man."
By the way, Joe, that's Edward Furlong singing that. It's one of the most.
People are strange.
Yeah, it's miserable.
Actually, that's Jim Morrison when he's not up on crank.
On crank.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. It sounds great.
Another one, another old time band, Pink Floyd. I think would.
Well, they almost did, right?
They almost. Yeah, that's true. They almost did.
Yeah.
Isn't the wall?
The Wall?
Yeah,
Not
well,
legitimate
that's-
horror. I mean.
Oh, horror, right. Okay, gotcha.
Well, that's for their own. That's for. I mean, I they did score it, but I mean that's their own film.
But I would say early Floyd, especially.
But that
I think.
would have been
like an
interesting.
extended music video.
Yeah, you're right. It would have been interesting though if Jodorowsky's Dune ever did come out because they were going to score one of the
Yep.
one of the half
Well, they
of it.
scored
anyways.
Wizard of Oz, right?
Yes.
Yes. In some alternate reality, they did.
Have you guys ever listened / watched that combination?
I tried it.
You made me once, you fucker.
I tried it once, and it didn't work out too well.
Did I get you super fucking high before we watched it?
No, I believe we watched it in conjunction with the time we smoked bananas, and all we got was headaches. All we got was headaches and pissed off.
Right, yeah, that sounds right.
I got a nosebleed, I think. You were projecting it on a sheet in your room.
Terrible.
I got two more.
All right,
I'll
go
make
for
this
it.
quick. I know he scored. He put in the soundtrack for Return of the Living Dead. Rocky Erickson.
Rocky Erickson?
Is that how you pronounce it? Rocky?
Yeah.
Okay, Rocky Erickson.
From Mass?
Yeah, that's Rocky Dennis.
That's Rocky.
Yeah, his band, the 13th Floor Elevators, I think they were called.
Yeah.
Is phenomenal. They write a lot of horror music. In fact, I think the character in the Ghastly Love of Johnny X was supposed to be
I
a
think you're
proxy
right.
for Rocky Erickson.
Yeah. And but I think I'm not exactly sure what. I mean, outside of Return of the Living Dead, I'm not really sure what genre he would fit in. I just know that he would fit.
Come on over. I'll burn your disc. He's a hero of mine.
Okay, yeah, because he's awesome. He's really good.
Anyone that sings about spooky stuff and can't sing is okay with me.
And lastly, he's a local, or they are a local band, as well as the Deadites, of course. But I would also have to say Walter Sickert and the Army of Broken Toys.
Yeah, I have that record.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
And yeah, we saw them when they at the what was it, the Jay Cannibals movie festival. They performed before I think it was Dawn of the Dead, and they're comprised of like a couple of like actual musicians. Well, they're all musicians, but I mean, there's like actual musical instruments, and then the rest are made. The music is made up of children's toy instruments, and it has a really unusual sound to it. Very childlike, very spooky at the same time, and it's really quite good. And I suggest you hunt that down. Walter Sickert and the Army of Broken Toys, and those are my choices.
Cool. Dynamo.
Real super quick, because I have a couple, but the last one is the one that I'm super jacked for, and this didn't make it on my last list, and I kicked myself in the ass. My last one, but first, I think this is actually going to happen, so this kind of doesn't count, but Tori Amos just put out a Broadway play off Broadway. It was actually it never made it it hasn't made it to the United States yet, but I've heard some of the arrangements of that, and it's incredible, and it's very Gaiman-esque, and I think that it would be an awesome like film score. Like you can say what you want. Like she's a very divisive artist, but like as just a player in like her arrangements, I think beyond reproach, and this stuff would be just great. Be up there with the best stuff of Elfman. Another one, and this one I just thought of because someone mentioned toys, is my good buddy Self. I think that he's so interesting.
Your good buddy?
Yeah, I love him. He's very handsome. That's why I want to be my good buddy. But if you're listening, Matt McCaffrey. Yeah, so I think he would do good. If you listen to the album that he made with Toys, Gizmodery, like, that stuff would really lend itself to a score. I highly recommend that stuff if you haven't seen it. What made me think of this is we just watched Psychomania, and the score of that reminded me of a 90-minute Psychic TV record. And I would have loved to have seen Psychic TV do a whole film score. But the one I'm most jacked about, and I'm surprised I never thought of this till I was thinking of it today, especially because I'm going to make Married on the lead singer of this band. All you have to do is listen to their spot-on cover of Chick Habit to realize that this is a band that understands like grindhouse-style cinema. And, they're jumping back from punk to garage to psychobilly to surf rock. How awesome would an Evil Streaks movie score be? Pretty fucking awesome. So those are my picks.
Okay. I'm going to do... We have to finish this up, but I want to do real quick, honorable mentions. One band I thought would be cool would be She Wants Revenge, especially for like a real dark sort of like...
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah. I thought that would be kind of cool. The Proto Men, which I think you might have mentioned on OTC, didn't you? Yeah.
I mean, their albums are
Essentially.
to a movie about Mega Man that doesn't exist.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
They're fucking great. If you haven't heard the Proto Men Act 2,
Yep.
Father of Light, get it.
One of my favorite artists of all time, Aphex Twin. Would love to hear him score a movie. It would be a little, probably have to be like a crazy art house type of movie, but
Crazy.
I think that could work. Janelle Monáe, I think, would score an awesome film.
Yeah, I'd see that.
IMX, who I know you and I are fans of.
Yep.
I think he'd score a
Oh,
great
he'd
film.
be fucking phenomenal.
Yeah. El Creepo, Michael Ackerfeld, the lead singer of Opeth, I think would do fucking incredible.
Sure.
And I guess that's it for my honorable mentions. If anyone else,
I don't got nothing.
Okay. Cool.
Wait,
So
did you say IMX?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's spelled.
Wait, how much is he really that much better than DMX? He's like what, like 4 better.
Well, he's got 4 letters in his name instead of 3.
Oh.
It's a band too.
Oh.
Not a person.
Totally different.
Totally different.
Hey, how about Depeche Mode? Like, you kind of dance around it.
They're on my list. Yeah.
You kind of dance around it in the fact, like, you can't get too far. You don't, especially for us, like they're kind of, for my money, like the music that Tiny and I make is film score music, but the thing that brings it back to pop music is, in my opinion, every single time is somewhere buried in there the work of Depeche Mode.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, there you have it.
Joe's like, I'm never listening to that fucking band.
There's the bands that we'd love to see score a film. I'd love to get some feedback on this one. This is one that could go on for weeks. So if any of the listeners out there have some feedback, feel free to send us a voicemail or an email, podcast@trickortreatradio.com, or even just post on the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group and let us know the band you would love to see score a film. So, Dynamo, next week, are we going to start doing our rotation, or we're still squaring it away, aren't we?
Yeah, I think we're squaring it away.
All right. So I'm not sure what we're going to do next week for our second segment, but we will by next week we'll have finalized the rotation for our second segment.
Yeah, if for no other reason, like there's no the 2 big ones that are left. I don't know what like. That needs a little more work than a week, I guess what I'm trying to say.
Yep, so we'll figure that out, but we'll announce on the Fib what we're going to do for the second segment of next week. It may even be a movie review if we can all go out and check out Tusk.
Sure.
We may just review that, but we'll wait on that and we'll see what's going to happen, but soon we'll have a rotation and we'll know a week ahead of time what our next...
Maybe we can take a field trip Sunday. I'm not to say that I'm not going to go tomorrow no matter what, but...
Yep. So before we do feedback, real quick, I wanted to talk about the Deadite show coming up. I know Dynamo mentioned it on the intro. November 1st at the Lucky Dog Music Hall in Worcester, Massachusetts. We now have a Facebook event page. We haven't invited anyone yet because I wanted this to be the debut of it.
Nice.
So what we'll do is we'll post that up on the Trick or Treat Radio Facebook group. We'll start inviting people. We'll tweet that out. We'll get that out there. And there's also a Brown Paper Tickets event page for you to buy advance tickets. So if you just go to the Deadites 18, that's the number 18, the Deadites 18.bpt.com. And you can go to the landing page right there, buy tickets.
We'll put it on the Fib.
Yeah, we'll also put that in the Fib. Tickets at the door are $10. In advance, if you buy them from Brown Paper Tickets, $8. If you're a listener of Trick or Treat Radio, Raven Shadow, they get a discount.
Oh, fucking forget about it.
Do you know how much? Take a guess.
Savings.
No, don't guess. I don't want you to get people wrong.
The yin fucking yang.
If you're a listener to Trick or Treat Radio,
it's like a human abacus.
We're not going to give this out anywhere, so you have to have listened to the episode to get this. But there's a code you can enter right on the ticket page there. Enter TORTR, and you'll get additional savings, $6 if you buy it using that code. So
yep.
I'd recommend getting there early, getting your tickets early, I should say, and getting to the show early. The show lineup is the Deadites. We have Gamble and Burke coming from L.A. to rock your asses like an enema.
Ooh.
We also have the
Agents of Chaos.
The hip-hop stylings of Agents of Chaos, formerly known as Beaver McD versus Captain Insidious. And we also have, first time playing with us is Transdusk. featuring our boy the Rev on bass guitar.
It's gonna be fucking great. Listen, if you like
Yeah.
Rob Zombie style industrial, like you get it at Transdusk.
Yep.
If you like some great, clever nerdcore hip hop, like imagine your favorite gangster rappers singing about Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Dungeons and Dragons instead of drive-by killings and rape. you get Beaver McD. If you want to hear great, just fucking full-out synth pop, R&B style fun. Gamble and Burke is where it's at.
Hold on, let me play one track real quick.
Okay.
Because I got one queued up here.
Nice.
They're so good.
Yeah, you're gonna probably want to make love on the dance floor when you hear these guys.
Want to make love to the dance floor.
Yes, on the dance floor to the dance floor. If you can't see the video feed, we're all grooving right now.
What's only thing that sucks about Gamble and Burke is that we have to play after them.
I thought Tiny wanted them to play after us.
I'm working on it, but it's going poorly.
Okay. All right.
And
so
lastly, if you take synth pop plus nerdcore plus industrial, what do you get?
I don't know, Dynamo.
You get the Deadites, us.
Oh, that's us.
So come check it out. You'll dance your booty off. I don't think Long Island's so fucking far away. That's all I'm saying.
We have a collection of like almost 1,000 booties now that we just pick up after the show.
Yeah. So come down, dance. Where you want to see us is at the Lucky Dog. It's our Apollo Theater, our ECW Arena, and because of the what things of the city, other things, the Lucky Dog might not be around forever. So if you miss this one, you're gonna fucking miss it. So come on down.
I'm playing some. One of my favorite soundtracks of last year was the Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon soundtrack
by Power Glove.
By Power Glove. Yeah.
Fucking good.
So I meant to play that during the discussion about the film, but yeah, the soundtrack's fucking great. If you haven't played the game, you need to play that shit.
Though it did copy Manborg.
Yes, and we talked to the head writer on episode 50, Lucian.
And we talked to the creators of Manborg about it as well, and they weren't very happy.
And Borgman.
And Borgman.
The sequel.
Borgman. All my friends have robot heads. All my friends have Borgman.
All right, so we got to get to feedback, and then we got to wrap up because we're over 3 hours now.
Long show long.
Long show long. So let me pull up the feedback here really quickly. Actually, I'm going to play this one first. I think this one actually is a reference to House of Horror. So, yeah, we got some cross-pollination going on here.
Yeah. Sounds dirty.
Here we go.
From the people who brought you High School Musical.
Oh, no,
and
we're
Camp
sorry,
Rock.
Joe.
Billy and his friends couldn't get any respect at school. Not from the girls.
When's the big game?
Yesterday.
Well, good luck.
Not from their parents.
She's very nice. Well, helping you miss practice doesn't make her very nice. Not in my book. We're your teams.
Not even from stuffy old Principal Meany.
I want you off this campus at 9 o'clock Monday morning.
But just when things were at their worst.
Well?
Along came a transfer student.
Well?
Straight from the heart of Texas.
Out with it.
Walt Disney presents Leatherface, the Teenage Years. Starring Zac Efron as Billy.
Usually hand us that diploma we're actually done. What makes you think we're getting diplomas?
Mike Patton as the new kid in school. And Monster Zero as Coach Johnson.
Eat your popcorn and shut your fucking mouth.
With their new friend, Billy and his pals are heading straight up to the top.
What team? Wildcats! What team? Wildcats! What team? Wildcats!
Leatherface, the Teenage Years. Coming soon. Soundtrack available on Epic Records.
Nice.
I love the sound effect at the end. That's perfect.
Yeah,
that's great.
That was good. I can't wait for that. That's like it's like the CW version of like Leatherface, right?
Oh, I'd be fucking the shit. It'd be nice. Fuck the creek.
That's literally what I was saying on last week's show. I was like, "What is he gonna be at? What is he gonna be in like the hallways? He can't find his class."
Yeah.
Nobody puts Leatherface in the corner.
Oh, it's fucking great. And we have this is like a Dynamo. I don't have much to set this up, but is this a new segment or?
Yeah, I ran into a real live dragon at the Super China Buffet.
Yep.
And he told me that he likes film reviews, but he also told me he doesn't like a member of our panel. So,
shit.
So
I wonder where this is going to go.
So the fact that he's going to review these movies. The other problem is he's more drunk than Michael Ravenshadow.
Hey.
Wow, that's pretty drunk.
I'm so much more drunker than he is.
Lastly, English is not his first language, so I can't promise what's going to happen right here.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and give this a shot.
He's a movie dragon and he wants you to know he's a really motherfucking big fan of the show. He's gonna watch movies and let you know. And he hates Raven Shadow as he thinks he's a hoe. He's sing sang, bing bang, he's sing sang too.
Hi, my name is Sing Sang Zhu, and I watched Cabin Fever. My favorite part in this movie is that they all die in pieces, slowly devoured by one ridiculous disease. The only part I don't like about that, the woman had to die. Why they died? They're too hot to die. And Raven Shadow, you're a dummy. Because this movie is a treat.
I like the movie.
You're a dummy.
I own it.
Only reason
dummy.
Oh, wait.
Raven Shadow, you're a dumb bitch. Because Raven Shadow, because Cabin Fever doesn't have a fever, man.
He's a super drunk dragon and he never behaves, and he's always bringing dragon chicks back to his cave. He wants own throne for his movie slaves. He's fing fang, sing sang, soo.
Wow.
Best review ever.
That is amazing.
I saw it in theaters, and I enjoyed it.
You know what the funny thing is that while his English may not be perfect, you could perfectly understand him calling you a dummy and a little bitch.
Yeah, bitch. Yeah, that really fucking translates. That's the grand fucking universal language.
You're a dumb bitch.
Yeah.
Hatred for you is like Rosetta Stone.
Well, the thing is, MZ, did you like Cabin Fever?
The first
film? Yeah.
Not
wait,
so
I was thinking of Cabin in the Woods.
I think it's the same thing I thought too when I first heard it, but I think he mistook you for Buster
But
okay.
I think you made the joke. Nobody has a fever in Cabin Fever recently.
He did say that.
Yeah.
He
Cabin
did.
Fever
You have said that.
Wait, which Cabin Fever?
Probably- probably all of them.
Okay.
Okay, I missed. All right.
That dude's loaded.
Oh.
You might be talking to me.
Yeah.
What's the dragon's name?
Sing sang soon.
Sing Sang Soon.
Yeah.
It's like Fing Fang Foom, right?
Call himself.
Or Bing
That's
Bang
a pretty
Boom.
common. It's like that 3-name alliteration.
Oh,
It's a
okay,
pretty
I
common
got it.
dragon, Japanese dragon thing.
All right.
I believe that he is Vietnamese.
Sing sang soon somebody.
I like him. Kinda.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll hear from him again. Did you
Yes.
go to like fight him?
No, I went to get Chinese food and just hung out with him.
Okay.
He's got. I hear, as being involved in the production here, I hear he's got some interesting thoughts on Psychomania. So
Nice.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So we have to do. We don't have any
we have
emails.
to do goodbye.
No, we do, but we have a couple tweets to get to real quick. So we actually.
Fuck yeah. Keep this going.
Yes. Transdusk actually tweeted at us, and he said, I've been waiting to see this one for a while. Can't wait to see it when I get the chance. And he was referring to Willow Creek. So told him to let us know
Down on Willow Creek.
his thoughts. Is Transdusk a person? That's just one of the guys in the band, but it's his project, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So hopefully he gets back to us with his review of Willow Creek. And then finally we heard from Pantophobe again.
Nice.
Nice to hear from
Hey.
Pantophobe. And she says...
Is it wrong to say Pantophobe has incredible boobs?
Have you seen them?
Yeah. In the
Do we have-
movie,
can
I
we
didn't
get
see
a
him.
picture here for people that don't know.
I will. I'll send a link to the movie. She's in a movie, like beating
Oh,
the
is
fucking
she?
shit out of some guy. That was, but he's a bad man.
Is he a stupid bitch?
All right. Well, I think we got to wrap up because this show, long show, is getting long. So, Joe, before we end here, I just want you to once again just let folks know where they can find the House of Horror podcast.
Sure. The houseofhorrorpodcast.com. You could also go to iTunes. We're on iTunes. You can follow me on Twitter, Cinematic Fanatic, without the I in Cinematic. You can follow Tom HOH Podcast, and Facebook.com/The House of Horror Podcast.
There you go. Check these guys out.
And where could somebody see your movies?
JoeDecanio.com.
Awesome.
Now
There's
you know
a
how
link for it if you go to the podcast website. There's a link for it.
I don't.
Now you know how to say his last name.
No, that's why I have a fake last name, so that that's actually my real last name, which is unfortunate.
So go check out Joe's films. Go check out the House of Horror podcast, and go check out their Tusk review coming up on Friday. They'll be checking that out, getting it out as soon as they see it, pretty much. So.
Yeah, I am so excited.
Yeah, go check that out. And then compare it to our review. Theirs will probably be better. So ours will be more offensive.
They know things about movies. Yeah.
Yeah. So awesome, Joe. It was a real pleasure to have you on. I appreciate you hanging out for the duration. It was a lot of fun.
Good times.
It was amazing, guys. Yeah. Anytime I'll come back on. That'd be
love
awesome.
It. Yeah, and have Tom drop me a line because I'd love to have him on as well. Both you guys at the same time, any old time.
Yeah, I'll get Tom on here for sure. Yeah. Absolutely, he'll love it. I know he will.
Yeah. Awesome. So
nice.
That's gonna do it. I don't care what any of you guys have to say. We're gonna end the episode.
You're saying that to us like we're shocked.
Yeah.
112 episodes, really? Durr.
We don't want to hear about any more synths, Tiny. You have too many synths. Raven Shadow.
Before we go, just let me say the name of each one that I have.
3 hours later. So thanks for everyone for tuning in live. Thanks to guest 768 for coming and hanging out, and everyone else that was hanging out.
One better than 767.
Yes. All right, Dynamo. Why don't you go ahead and take us out? Was I supposed to do something at the end? I forget.
No.
Okay. Thought we were gonna do something special, but I guess
I
not.
don't remember.
All right.
Remember, children, wherever you go, there you are.
Thank you for tuning in to episode 112 of Trick or Treat Radio, everyone. We will see you next week for 113, where we review Only Lovers Left Alive from Jim Jarmusch. See ya!